Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. And today's show should be a fantastic one. Shot to Twine for that beat drop. Let's get into the things that we're going to be talking about today. It appears as if all hell has broken loose down in Houston. Andre Johnson, legendary wide receiver for the Houston Texans for a long, long time, face of the franchise for a long time, has almost all of their records as a wide receiver for the franchise. He came to play for the Indianapolis Colts for a year. I got a chance to be a teammate of his. I got a chance to talk to him. I think we kind of befriended each other for a little bit, and then he even came onto this show. He is a man who is very chill. Now, granted, he did beat the shit out of Cortland Finnegan one time. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Cortland Finnegan, hilarious human. I hope that those two kind of rekindled. I think they get along well. But he was always very calm whenever he talked when he was with the Indianapolis Colts. He was always very collected, incredibly intelligent, never seemed like a guy that would kind of go kind of like off. You know, like Andre Johnson was like the model teammate whenever he came to the Indianapolis Colts. And with Desean Watson situation brewing down at the Houston Texans, it is called for some ex-Texans to voice their concerns with the Texans franchise. And Andre Johnson put out this long tweet that basically said, hey, Desean Watson, stand your ground. That organization is bullshit since Jack Easterby came in. It's pretty much what Andre Johnson said. Now, he's much more of a gentleman than I am, and he said it in a much, more eloquent fashion, sure, as you can see here. But that's pretty much what he said. And then it led to other. Arian Foster said, like, hey, if OG here is talking, if OG's talking, there's a reason. And that's exactly how I felt whenever I saw him tweet that out, by the way. Then DJ Reader responded, and then others have responded. I mean, it feels like a lot of people that have played for the Houston Texans organization have potentially been completely turned off by the Houston Texans organization once Jack Easterby got in there. Now, the interesting thing about Jack Easterby is he came down from New England, you see, and whenever he got in there, he became allegedly, I would assume, a problem behind the scenes, whether it's political and who gets to make decisions and where's money going and things that are happening. You saw Nuke leave town. DeAndre Hopkins got traded for a bag of balls to the Arizona Cardinals. We all saw DeAndre Hopkins in what he did this season in Arizona, what he's done in Houston with like 45 different quarterbacks before Deshaun got there. He's an absolute stud. He got sent out there. That is a wild time to be alive. But don't you fear, Houston Texans fan. One of the greatest football players on earth in Desean Watson, he was at a Houston Rockets game last time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So if he's sitting down there at a Houston Rockets game, what does that mean? He's a fan of the Rockets. If he's sitting courtside, that means he really loves the team.
Houston.
He wouldn't want to leave the Texans and not be able to go watch the Houston Rockets. Oh, but what if he's a James Harden fan? Because he actually said in a press conference yesterday, "Get me the fuck out of here."
I want to see his last game.
He said it in the he was like, "Listen, they're playing the Lakers too. Like, we might as well go check out Bron, who's going to hit a three and turn around like he's Steph Curry in the middle of the game, and we're also potentially seeing James Harden's last game as a little bit bigger guy and also as a Rocket." So maybe you should be a little bit bummed and think that this could get ugly and maybe Deshaun Watson will get shipped out of town. Will he go down to Miami? Well, that's an interesting thing because Miami players have allegedly came out in an anonymous fashion with local Miami media and just buried Tua, basically.
Yeah.
Basically just said, like, you know what? We're not 100% sure about this guy. I think they all said that they liked him as a person. I don't think anybody's ever said they don't like Tua. But as a football player, I think there was a lot of questions, I guess, coming from the locker room. Couple quick things. Couple, if I may.
You bet.
I don't like the anonymous answer. Okay? I've never liked it. This happened week 6 with the Cowboys with anonymous leaks. Now, granted, sometimes and this is in the sports world, please, so don't come at me with your bullshit. Well, you need anonymous sources for the safety of the person. Fuck you. Okay, I'm talking sports. Legit. Like I understand, but I understand sometimes anonymous sources can leak something to get a narrative spun to potentially work out and benefit in your fashion or in the franchise organization's fashion if you need something. So when the Dallas Cowboys were leaking information to media members about how bad the coaches were, it felt like the players were thinking to themselves, well, we got to change something. Nobody's going to listen to us, this whole thing. I was asked a couple times whenever I was in a locker room if I would do an anonymous poll or an anonymous thing. And I was like, anytime I say something, I think it might be good. I would like my name to be associated with it. Okay. Yeah. And that's not just me being like, oh, I hate like whenever people, it's me potentially being arrogant because I think my answer is going to be a good one. So I would like my name to be next to it. I would like a little bit of credit for this. But also, if you have an opinion, you should at least, people should know on the other side of your opinion that it's coming from you. So that's I don't love that the Dolphins players did these anonymous quotes or whatever and kind of buried a teammate, because now what happens? Now Tua, let's say nothing happens this offseason, Tua goes back in there and, it's a little bit of an awkward situation because now Tua's staring at a room and it's almost like he's trying to figure out, he's trying to be an FBI profiler. He's trying to figure out who potentially gave the anonymous quotes about me sucking at football, and it's almost like, does he wear glasses? No. It's like a guess who game he's playing on, who he thinks potentially did the whole thing. But if this is something that you truly believe, and you saw B-Flow pull Tua in a moment where they needed to win and put Fitzmagic in there, it feels like the Dolphins are sitting at number 3 in the draft. They're probably taking a quarterback. And if the players are doing something and the coaches are doing something now, and it feels like the fans are even potentially no, they're not Gumpy. Gumpy's a big Dolphins fan. They are not on the side of Tua should not be the quarterback of the future.
The guy who wrote this article, Armando, he has been called into question before, Pat.
Oh, no. So you're saying he's potentially lying about the anonymous sources? He just made it up, which is, by the way, anytime you read something about an anonymous source, you have to potentially factor in the fact that the person that's writing it or saying it potentially pulled out of their ass and said, people are saying, because that's what we do on this show.
I mean, a lot of people also saying that we bash Tua. No one has bashed Tua here. All we said, if you can get Desean Watson, you get Desean Watson. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it feels like it. And we haven't bashed Tua. I haven't. Gumpy has, though. Gumpy has bashed Tua.
D-Butt did yesterday. That was nothing to do
so now you see what's happening here is a lot of this whole thing.
Hey, we can pull the clip back. We can pull it back.
All 5 fingers pointing out. But anyways, is Desean Watson going to go there? And if not, is Tua going to be able to be the quarterback of the future with now anonymous quotes about players not knowing if Tua is the guy? I mean, it's just, there's a clusterfuck. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of reality. And we're heading into a massive weekend in the NFL. We'll talk about all of that. Also today at 5:30, okay? p.m. NBC Sports Network, which I'm not sure anybody has, but you know what I'm talking about. The NHL is back. What game are they leading with? Great question. Greatest hockey player of all time, Sidney Crosby, is going to beat the fuck out of the Philadelphia Flyers. Watch out, Philly. There's a boost on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Sidney Crosby to score 1 goal. He'll probably score 6 just to score 1 goal. It was boosted from to plus 210 or whatever. Wow. You're double your money. Greatest hockey player to ever put on skates. He will definitely score against Flyers. He hates the Flyers. Okay, he does not like them. Cross-state rival, but also in hockey, like we are so much better than them at hockey, and they like are a chirping. They suck. We're great. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since '75. We've won them all the time. Okay, so it's not even really a conversation. Sidney Crosby will score a goal. Go hammer this boost at plus 210. I feel good about it. That's going to spin around. My hockey betting might go undefeated this year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Mike Hawk. And by the way, a lot of people are going to call into question my hockey knowledge, and I would like them to know that fucking bring it. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
I grew up in Hockey Town, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Okay?
Easy.
And what's that?
Easy. With
Red Wings. I don't even know if the Red Wings are still in the NHL. So that my NHL knowledge might get called into question because I'm not even sure if y'all motherfuckers are even in the league anymore. Dude, the last time I saw NHL hockey, guess who wasn't involved? Fucking Red Wings. They were not even invited.
We want to know
like
Red Wings. Why would you want to be
there.
a part of the dumb bubble?
Listen, the Penguins did not play well in the bubble at all. It's not really our thing. Like, hey, we win real Stanley Cups, this whole thing. We're not going into the bubble. But that was the NHL literally saying if we could get rid of teams, these are teams we would get rid of. And the Red Wings Hockey Town were right in that list right there. The once storied franchise with octopi getting thrown onto the ice, the Detroit Red Wings. Now the NHL saying, don't even fuck come in the bubble. Okay, I just want to let you know that in the NBA, they made rules to get Zion in there. If you do recall, the NHL could have done that with Hockey Town. They chose not to.
Pistons also.
So I don't even want to fucking hear it from Detroit fans. Your team wasn't even invited to the NHL last year. Okay, so I don't want to. Anyways, I grew up in Hockey Town.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And when I was growing up, you have no idea about the back-to-back Jack. You're talking Yager, Lemieux, Francis, Tommy Barrasso. The boys were ham on the ice. And that was right in my time period. The starter jackets, you know what I mean? Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Also, the Penguins logo is incredible. It's better than every other logo. It looks good. Was never a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Always loved the players. I was forced to watch the Steelers games, obviously, because my dad's a diehard through remotes and shit like that. And in Pittsburgh, if the Steelers win, the entire city is happy. Also in Pittsburgh, if the Penguins win, a large majority of the city is happy. Pittsburgh is a hockey town. That's just how it is. The Pirates suck.
Stink.
Have, always will. Their owners suck. Penguins are a team that has been very successful for a very long time. We transitioned from one GOAT to another, just like the fucking Packers did with Brett to Aaron. We got Lemieux straight into Sydney, and then we bring in Malkin in the boys, let alone the young gunner, the young stud, Gensel, who's just a goal-scoring machine. I have no idea who's playing goalie. Hopefully it's the same guy from a couple years ago that knew how to catch a fucking puck on his glove side. But the Penguins are going to win by 50 tonight.
Wow.
Hammer the over and hammer Sidney Crosby to score at least one goal plus 210.
Hell yeah.
Woo! Now, with that being said, I cannot skate and I've never played actual hockey. At-Tone Diggs is here. Diggs.
Yeah.
College football, nobody likes it anymore. I guess big drop-off in the ratings.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay. Still had 15 million people watching, though, okay? And I know that you're comparing it to last year's college football, and I would assume, by the way, college football is a much different sport whenever the fans are there, and there's probably a lot more hype when everybody's involved. Yeah. But I think this year the product did suffer from the lack of atmosphere more than maybe most other sports did. But 15 million people still watching. And I would assume the way it's being consumed is a little bit different. And who knows about these Nielsen ratings? Do you think the future of college football is potentially in jeopardy because the product is not good enough to survive alone? You have to have the entire environment and everything around that to make it worth a single fuck. And with this COVID-20 potentially around the corner, and COVID-20A, and COVID-21, I mean, what if the game just has to survive off the game? Is college football going to be able to do that?
I think college football's fine. Football is king. Hockey starts today. I mean, college football is 20 times the size of hockey. The ratings were down in the ratings were down in the national championship, but the semifinals were much higher than the national championship. I think people are just tired of watching Bama win national championship and Bama, Ohio State, Bama, and Clemson. Like, they need to somehow find a way, expand the playoffs, get more teams in there, get more fan bases in there. Like, I thought the regular season was much better than the college football playoffs. Like, once the bowl season started, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, the interesting thing about college football is, and people are bashing it this morning. I mean, those ratings came out and people started going after it for not wait until they see these NHL ratings. You know, wait until they see these. But I think the trend of people watching shit at home is real. But I think people have so much content to choose from now. They'll still keep up with the game, but maybe the Nielsen outdated rating can't keep up with them watching the game. Like, for instance, Nickelodeon allegedly only had 2 million viewers. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah,
that's
I don't believe that.
That just, unless I have zero pulse of what's going on, and I guess I am strictly an internet person, but that felt much larger than 2 million people. I'm not 100% sure. So maybe the ratings are a bunch of bullshit and who cares? If something's getting talked about, maybe it's good, and if it's not, dead.
To your point, though, like, as a sport surviving without all the pageantry and stuff like that, like, when there is a game on and there is no fans for college football, even the NFL, you're like, this fucking sucks. Like,
NFL is much better. Like, let's not even.
Yeah.
NFL is much better.
It still sucks without fans.
I agree. It's not as good without fans, but in the NFL, you're seeing, like, high-level shit happen. You know what I mean? In some college games, football games, you're watching, like, some high-level high school shit happening. You know what I mean? And not everybody is into that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think college football will always survive, but everybody's bashing the ratings hit. It's like, 15 million people still. That's a lot.
It's more than like the NBA finals. It's more than any other sports finals.
Yeah, that's a lot of motherfucking viewers. At Boston Connor, we have a couple big-time guests today. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Ty Schmidt is here as well. All the boys are here. Zito, your poll before we get to this break, before we have Rich Rodriguez. And then, by the way, we have Barry Sanders.
What?
Whoa. Yeah, and then Cole Beasley. Yeah, we have a big show today. I'm pretty pumped about it. Yeah, and NHL's at 5:30 when Sidney Crosby scores 7 goals against Philadelphia Flyers. Zito, what's your poll before we get to the break?
Yep. Today is which one seed is more likely to make the Super Bowl. Right now we have Chiefs at 40.5% and Packers 59.5%.
Here we go. Wow. Quick stats from Stats Diggs earlier. AFC number 1 seeds are 19 and 11 in this divisional round against whoever came to their house. And in the NFC, they're 24 and 6.
Correct.
Damn.
So it seems like the NFC does move along a little bit more, the trends are, than the AFC, but still pretty heavily favored in the 1 seed's direction, which is what we should think about when gambling this weekend, although the Browns are getting 10 points against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have not covered much this year. They'll win. We assume they'll win, but will they cover 10? That's a lot. I'm not sure.
In that AFC, 19-11 straight up, 12-17-1 ATS.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Plus 10.
So exactly what we just said. Right?
Yeah.
This is the Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, January 13th. Rich Rodriguez, new offensive coordinator for University of Louisiana Monroe, announced yesterday, will be joining us. And also my coach, by the way, in college. This is the Pat McAfee Show. You got about 4 minutes.
Hockey's back.
Shattered his head.
Let me just roll back to my corner.
Hey, pal. The question.
My tailbone, boys.
The question. Yeah, you should keep your helmet on.
keep it on.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God! Best sign spinner in the world! At least now he says, that was unbelievable. Bro, thank you for what you just did right there. What's your name?
Mike,
Mike, where you from?
right here in Los Angeles.
That was fucking awesome to watch. Good luck out there. They should be paying you more.
Tune in for the World Sign Spinning Championship in Vegas.
There's a World Sign Spinning Championship?
In Vegas.
Are you like a national, are you a champion?
I rank.
You rank? What do you rank?
I got 8th in the 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
What do we have to do to get better? How do we get to first place? What's the new move? What's the new move? Maybe light it on fire.
Yeah, Little for about half is this one.
Oh! At least now! Oh my God! If I was getting to the end with the kickflip, I don't know how you're 8th in the world. You should be number 1. And if I was leasing a place, I'm fucking coming here. Oh my. I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us.
I love it.
The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Welcome back to that show. I am the host, Pat McAfee. We are here on SiriusXM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio, and on YouTube with nearly 25,000 people watching. A little bit of an arena. We appreciate that. Joining me now is a man that I am so incredibly pumped to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay? Just yesterday, this man was announced as a new offensive coordinator for the University of Louisiana Monroe. I, to be completely transparent, thought he would be up for a big-time job after what he did at Ole Miss 2 years ago. But turns out the University of Louisiana Monroe team has an absolute savage coming down to run their offense. This man was my college coach. He was the one who signed me to a scholarship and get my education paid for. Education there, but I got a chance to ride the coattails of some great teams to some magical moments. And to be honest, this man, in the moment that I knew him, I didn't fully understand him. But as I've grown older, can't help but have the ultimate respect for this dude. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Rich Rodriguez.
Let's go, Coach.
What's up? For the brand, my Matt.
How are you doing?
This will be entertaining for sure. We want to tell some. I heard you do a pretty good Rich Rod impersonation.
Well, you've heard it before, Coach. You have heard it. Now listen, you know that I'd be able to do that. Those post-training camp gong shows, we'd bring the fucking house down, Coach, you see.
Oh, good. Well, now that I saw you cuss, I know this is not PG rated. You're full of shit half the time. more than half the time. But we're going to get this, before we get anything started, let's get it straightened out about Pat McAfee. I've heard this Darrelle Revis punt return thing. I do remember that meeting, and I wore out that laser, and it wasn't just you that missed the tackle and was lazy and loafing on that play. There were about 10 other guys. But that was so uncharacteristic of Pat McAfee because you're like, this guy's not just a specialist. I mean, this guy can play linebacker. I told everybody we had games, and this guy's the best punter, the kicker. He can play a lot of positions. And lo and behold, we have an opportunity to make a tackle against Darrelle Revis on national TV. And what did he do? He shit right down his leg. Right down there. But no, I'm so proud of you. You're doing great. So for everybody, and here's my son Rhett will remind me of. He said, "I know you told Pat stories." I said, "Well, remind me some." He said, every time we'd have picture day or media day, Pat would have some kind of crazy new hairdo, some kind of bullshit on his head, and I would say, "Pat, can you not just be the freaking punter? Why you got to do all this other shit? Just be the freaking punter."
Coach. Hilarious I was thinking about this morning, okay? Now that by the way, there's media day right there. Now that I've kind of, because going into that West Virginia team, that was my first time in the football environment, right? Because I played soccer. I didn't go to practice in high school football. I would only show up on like Friday nights or whatever. And that was my first time in the football environment. And I just acted like how I would act in regular life. Now that I've met like a lot of kickers and punters, you know what I mean? You guys had to have some hilarious conversations about like, hey, this kicker we got is a fucking asshole. There had to be some. I am very different than a lot of other kickers and punters, and I now realize
You're
that.
Just different, period. But that's okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But the truth is, like talent-wise, I mean, I love your personality, and you're. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but your competitiveness and your want to be the best was unmatched by anybody, not just in a special position. But I've always said this. I remember the first time I saw you in person kick and punt. I said, you don't have to see it. You can hear it. The best punters and kickers, you can hear them. And that was the case with you for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. You gave me an opportunity when many others didn't. And now that I'm, reading that you're going to the University of Louisiana Monroe after a year off, the only thing I wonder, especially because you got this Hard Edge podcast, okay, and it's like a family, you got a good family, got a good puck. Have you lost are you going to be soft down there? Are you soft?
Oh, I'm not. No, I better be hard edge here, right? We got some work to do, but it's a very unique opportunity. It's, my son who's got 2 years. He graduated with a 4.some GPA with 2 years of eligibility left.
Congrats,
was
Rhett.
looking for maybe a place to go. And a friend of mine, Terry Bowden, who I've known for a long time, said, hey, well, what's Rhett going to do? Is he going to, look to transfer? And I said, yeah. And he says, why don't his dad come down and coach him? I'm thinking, you know what? Instead of sitting on my ass, I like to work. I love ball. Maybe it's a great opportunity, kind of write a new story, and it's something that's unique that I go chance to coach my son. And obviously they got some work to do, right? There wouldn't be a new coaching staff if there wasn't, and they got a lot of work to do coming off an 0-10 season. But I'm really excited. The players are excited. The administration here is excited, and we're busy getting to work at ULM, and we'll see what happens.
Coach, whenever you left West Virginia, you went to Michigan. We all, in our locker room, our guys, you know what I mean? We all, by the way, we were a very tight team. And I think that is not something that you can measure or put anything on. If your team comes together, that West Virginia team we had was very tight. But when you went to Michigan, we all knew, are the Michigan kids going to be able to handle Rich Rodriguez? Because our locker room, and I think you would probably say this, and anybody that met, we had some dogs in our locker room, right? Like we were guys that were ready to go. And we thought the Michigan thing was always going to be an interesting fit for you. Did you have any of those thoughts going in there? Did you have to change it all? What was it whenever you went up there? Because we had a lot of questions.
Well, that's fair. I didn't visit there. Obviously, you don't talk to the other team and didn't really know a whole lot about it. Other than the Michigan brand and their history and all that. But it was different. I think you come in a little bit, and I wasn't a so-called Michigan man, and so sometimes when I try to do things that I thought were basic to any good program, they looked at me like I had three heads. It's like, geez, what are you doing here? And I think there was some resistance at times initially, but I think eventually by the third year, we had gotten that out and we were ready to roll. Unfortunately, I didn't get the fourth year to see it through, but it was tough transition, and I missed West Virginia. And there's so much, Pat, that you probably don't even know. And I wish I would have had time before I left. I should have had a meeting with the players, but I wish I would have had a press conference and explained to the West Virginia fans exactly what the reasons were and why I left. Such a great program to go to Michigan and so on and so forth. And I didn't do that. That was a mistake on my part because I was told, hey, just move on. They'll be okay. And I should have, the fans of West Virginia owed.
Oh, we got to call him back. He was getting
A lot
ready.
of things, but there was simple stuff, Pat. We were doing pretty good. And we had a new young president, administration. And I didn't ask for any demands for myself personally, other than I wanted $50,000 more for an assistant coaches pool, because I was losing a lot of good coaches every year. And, I was a great staff. And I thought, okay, $50,000 is something, but that's for the whole staff. That's all I wanted, $50,000 more. I was told, take it or leave it, coach. We've done all we can for you, and that's it. And I'm like, really? And that was it. That was the extent of the conversation. It wasn't like, what else
Coach,
do you need
also with what we were doing for West Virginia. Now, hindsight, I'll look back on this now that I'm in the college football world a little bit more with game day. West Virginia, we had those plaques on the wall. Thursday night football games on ESPN. We had the highest rating game of the year. We were on primetime television every single week. We were winning a lot. And I saw a lot of West Virginia University. I saw a lot of buildings being put up. I saw a lot of classrooms getting redone. I saw attendance go up. I saw everything go up. So I would assume whenever you go hey, is there any way we can maybe continue to build this thing for $50,000? You would expect a simple yes there, I would guess, but we didn't know any of that. None of us knew any of that was happening behind the scenes.
I know, and that's probably, where I could maybe explain things. But, when your new employer says, hey, move on, don't talk about it, so on and so forth, you understand that. But how many years it's been? 13, 14 years, and I really haven't explained some of that stuff. So, this is a little bit of an opportunity to do that. But you're right. We loved – I remember when ESPN came to me and said, Coach, we would like to play some, not just Thursday, but maybe a Friday night game, a Wednesday night game. I said, you can put us on prime time at any time. Our guys will be ready to play. They'll love it. It didn't care what night of the week it was. It'd be reality TV at its best, right? So we took as many as we could, and it helped us build the program.
There was a couple games, man, that Maryland game. The Maryland game when Steve popped off for 100 touchdowns after, a week before signing day, they pulled his scholarship. Then obviously every time we got on the prime time with Louisville, it was a hell. We had runs back. I remember how pissed off you were. And I don't know if you were actually pissed off, but you're using it to kind of motivate. And I was one of the only freshmen, by the way, that played, right? Me and Steve were one of the only freshmen that played. So it was kind of an interesting little time there because there was an older class that when you first got there, you brought in, right? Jamal Adai in them, I think is that class. That was kind of the senior class there. And then now we were kind of the younger class that we were going to get going. And when Louisville gets brought into the Big East, you used it as like everybody's talking about how Louisville's the new king of the Big East. Like I remember you not being thrilled about it. And then that first time we played them, what was it? A triple overtime game. We get the win. And that was really, I think, the moment that catapulted us into, like that next tier.
We had it was unique as we had, you talk about a cast of characters, not just yourself, but, there were a lot of guys that maybe were a little bit overlooked or somehow, fell under the radar or developed a different way. The Owen Smiths of the world, who was probably the best fullback in college football. I know there wasn't a lot of fullbacks at the time, but what a great story these guys all were. And it was just, for me, I probably have not said it enough, how much I appreciate the effort, because you guys worked your ass off.
Oh, yeah.
With Barvis in the weight room and what you did in the summer, I'm so appreciative of the effort the guys gave. And I just assume, Pat, no matter where you go, everybody works like that. But it doesn't do that all the time until you're there and build that culture. Once you build that culture, like Alabama has now, where everybody works that way, it sometimes takes a little time.
I talked about that yesterday with how Devontae Smith has had to sit behind two superstars, and instead of transferring, Alabama has this culture where they're like, no, you're going to compete. Okay, you're going to compete here, and then whenever it's your time to get on the field, you're going to go. Okay, like that. This is how it's going to work, and they'll be able to do that forever, by the way, if they want to. Now that it's been established, like that culture is something you can't really have. Our culture was one where I feel like. That had to have been the most blue-collar team you've ever been around. We had to have, legitimately had to have been.
Yeah, it's like you want to say, whoa, not sick them, right? And I've always said that. Well, these guys got to the point where they were ready to do it. Not that they wanted to run up that damn hill, law school hill all the time and do all the drills that Barris was going through. But, you weren't adverse to hard work, and you weren't adverse to adversity. And I think there was a bond by doing that where you had a little chip on your shoulder saying, like, we're little old West Virginia, and we're going to come and whip your ass, and that's no matter where we're at and who we're at. And, it's like the Sugar Bowl in Georgia. I remember that. We couldn't wait to play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl because everybody's talking about little West Virginia from the Big East. You got the SEC champs. And then like 2 nights before then in the same place we were playing in Atlanta, LSU had destroyed Miami or somebody in that game. And everybody's talking about SEC. And they're good. They were good. But I said, I think we got a sneaky little good team too, and they'll be ready to prove themselves.
We had a hell of a time that week, and I'm sure you've been told the stories now now that you've kind of left. We were very loose that week. Our team, there was not a lot of worry from many of our team, and it might have been because we were too young at the time. We were freshmen based. Most of us were freshmen. Yeah. Now there was seniors, obviously legendary seniors, Dan Moses and the boys. Like there was those types of guys, but the freshmen, I don't think we even had a clue what was going on. We go to that Peach Bowl. Remember, they had us go watch that game. We got tickets to that whole game. And there was SEC, and then there was dog fans barking at us on the street whenever we were walking around. And it was just like our whole team was like, get the fuck out of our face. Like it was literally like that the whole week. And then we go out and get that win. And I remember after the game, we did a bunch of chants. Like there was a bunch of chants and everybody was all in. And we had a Big East chant that we radiated through the whole thing. And it just so happened to be, I think the cameras were live on there. And it was I can't believe the Big East got taken away, man. We had such a good conference up there, Rich. Such a good conference going on.
And it was, I was in, obviously I was in that league when it was coming apart. And the problem with the Big East at the time is it was already fractured. It had football schools, basketball schools, and Notre Dame. And everybody's going to fight for their own agenda from the school standpoint. And so when the conferences started to implode a little bit, I told our administration, we better find something in a hurry because we're going to be left standing with nothing at the Big East. And so trying to get in the ACC and the Big Ten, which would probably been a more natural geographic fit, didn't happen. And so I think then I left. So I think that's why they had to go to the Big 12. But West Virginia's got so much to offer. I don't care about how many TV eyeballs are on there. The West Virginia brand, the West Virginia fans, the importance of football in that state, and I think has a lot to offer to everybody.
Hey, and you built that, dude. Like that has to feel pretty cool.
Well, you built that. I mean, the players we were getting, and sometimes you get it bothers me. Says, well, you got a bunch of blue collar players, and they develop well. I mean, these guys are talented now too. Now they weren't just blue collar guys that worked hard. I mean, Pat McAfee's crazy nuthead, and I love him as a personality. But if his ass couldn't kick or punt, I wouldn't have had him on the team. I mean, I love you, Pat, but I had you on the team because selfishly, I knew you're pretty damn good.
Did you have to, like, you coached hard? You coached us hard. We were coached hard. By the way, this is just like whenever people talk about Tom Brady up in New England. Like, Tom had to give the okay, right, for Bill to coach him in front of the team meeting and yell at him, and kind of so everybody kind of sets the standard. I'm not sure there's a lot of coaches in 2021 going into 2022 that still coach hard just because of the new genre of human, the new way things kind of go. With your son obviously being on the team, how do you balance that? Are you still? Hey, your piss is still hot? No way your piss is still hot the entire from period one. No
you
way.
can ask Rhett, my son. He'll still. The difference when Rhett is so smart, he's more mature than I am too. I mean, I'll yell at him, and a lot of guys will give you that look like, oh God. I yell at Rhett, and he just smiles at me. So he already knows it's coming, and so he gets it. But I think here's the difference, Pat. I'll tell you what the difference between 20 years ago and now. 20 years ago, you get on a guy and tell him to do something. Okay, coach, I'll do it. Now they'll still do it, but they want to know why. And if you tell them the wrong reason, they'll Google it up and say, nope, coach, that ain't what it says on Google. Some shit. So they're smarter nowadays. You can't fool them. So I still think guys want to be coached at all levels. And if they know that you can help them be the best version of themselves, if they know you can help them have success, then you can get through to them and be okay. I tell them, I'm a louder guy a little bit. I know you've kind of made fun of me that way. You're right. I like to yell a little bit. I won't yell long, but when I do, I just try to get their attention, get it corrected, and let's move on.
And
it's
impressive. Hey, the way you put words together too, so just succinct. It was art. It was fucking art. We used to go back home, to our houses after practice and things like that. And we would,
you know. The house where you had, like, just to get together, you weren't having a party? Is that the one you're talking about where the police got called?
No.
I would never party at my house.
No. The team camaraderie building barbecue.
Yep.
That's the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen.
It was, he just hung up. Hopefully his number wasn't
It
on.
wasn't.
Okay, good news. Man, he's awesome, dude.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, whenever he would yell, though, sometimes he would just like look and yell and then like look back away. He was out of a movie, dude. We go back to the house that he was referring to there, and teammates would come over or whatever. And I was going to say, we'd sometimes smoke a little CBD or whatever, and we would talk about what you said during the day. Hey, Coach, you kind of dropped off there. And I don't know who was calling you. Maybe that was ULM saying, get the hell off the show. But I appreciate you for joining us. What I was telling you is you would have a hell of a practice, okay? It was a day where you wanted to set the tone and somebody was fucking up or whatever. You would have a hell of a practice. And at night, obviously, we'd all be miserable during it because, normally that involves some bar-wish shit, too, if you didn't like what was going on. It was like, okay, there's a tag team coming here. If things aren't going well, we're going to do this or whatever, We would go home at night, and the duplex where the neighbor was having a party, and I just so happened.
The neighbor's place.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
By the way, you remember.
And you're being neighborly. That's all right. You're just being neighborly, saying hello.
Hey, what type of representative would I be of the Mountaineers if I didn't go and say hello to the gathering that was happening right next door to my house? That'd be rude if you.
Take 10 of your teammates with you.
10.
And have the police come just to make sure everything is good. Everything's good.
Got to do it.
Coach, I would like to break some news to you. That meeting the next day, the emergency meeting the next morning after, a couple guys who were very talented and very good got arrested in a very unfortunate, which, by the way, was not at my house or the neighbor's house. That was elsewhere. But the emergency meeting that happened the next morning, I knew it was not good, okay? So not good. Teammate comes in, wakes me up. I'm on the couch. They wake me up. They're like, we got a meeting. I was like, when? They're like, right now. I'm like, I thought we weren't supposed to be until noon. They're like, emergency meeting, check your phone or whatever. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I didn't know what had happened, right? I just woke up, so I didn't even know what had happened yet. I go in, and obviously we go into the meeting, and Coach Stewart, rest in peace, by the way, what a legend of a man. He calls me over before we get in the team meeting. He goes, where were you last night, Patrick? And I go, I was at my house. He was like, you were at your house last night at 11:30, midnight, after curfew? I was like, I was at my house. You can ask anybody. I was at my house. And he was like, all right, somebody is going to get in some shit. I just want to let you know, good luck in there, basically, is what Coach Stu said to me. And we go in there, and you had that meeting, and you had the seniors stand up. Do you remember you had the seniors stand up? And then you had the GAs were all standing up too. The coaches were standing up. And you were like, whenever you're making these decisions, you're fucking these guys final round or whatever. All those dudes were at the party. Every single one of them. The GAs.
Now I found the truth. They lied to me.
All the coaches were there too. Even the police that escorted you during games, they were at they were the ones that were actually putting. That was, hey, I know a lot of bad things happened afterwards, but when you talk about like pretty monumental parties, I think, in the history of Morgantown, we had a rapper performing in the front yard at like midnight. The cops shut down the block. I mean, it was amazing.
Pat, you're expecting all your listeners and your crew there to believe. You can't piss down my back and tell me. Keep selling that story, brother. Keep selling it.
All right. Well, I mean,
better every year.
It was that party was fucking awesome. But, and I forget exactly what I was going to go to because we got into that. But did you, the year before you went to Michigan, you almost went to Alabama, and it was on ESPN. It was on ESPN, the whole thing. They had your face on there. I think they even had the old Bear Bryant hat on your head at one point on ESPN, you know. When you
listen, I'm partly responsible for Alabama winning 6 national championships in the last 13 years. Because I didn't go, and they hired Nick Saban, the greatest of all time. But no, it was a unique opportunity. Obviously, like, how stupid is this guy, right? But I knew what we had coming back at West Virginia, and at the time, West Virginia, we were better than them. Now, obviously, what Nick has done there is just second to none. But you know, that wasn't an easy decision, certainly, because Alabama's Alabama. But
how close
I didn't
were you?
Look back at it twice.
How close were you? Real question, because I think the rumors that got to the players about that, because we had a meeting that morning as well after the ESPN thing. We had a meeting that you called team meeting or whatever, and we were going in there. We assumed it was about the thing we saw on ESPN last night, and then you come in there, okay? You bring your family in there, and you're up in the front, and there's media in there. And you like took your time for a little bit, and it was basically like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, I'm not leaving. Basically, it was like one of those situations. It really was. And I remember all of us looking around, going like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then the meeting was. You cut the meeting. It was basically just like that. And we were all just like, what the hell? We have no idea what just happened. I think we went to either lunch or a workout. And then there was a bunch of rumors that that we were being told. And obviously, once something starts in a locker room, it just goes. So who knows who brought it in. But the rumor was you didn't know if you wanted to take the Alabama job or not while you were coming into the meet, like maybe an hour before the meeting.
Yeah, this ain't just so much drama bullshit.
Yeah, it was awesome. I want to let you know when it was going around, it was awesome because I thought about you going.
Yes.
I thought
so
about
much drama. It was just.
Hold on, Coach.
I was off for the job.
Coach, hold on. I thought of you. Okay, like walking into that team meeting, just being like, "Fuck it, I'm staying here." Like, you know what I mean? Like that massive of a decision. Like that. That was what we started doing. Like we were like, imagine Coach or Rich Rod just walking in and going, all right, I'm fucking staying. And then going up, like we thought you were like that savage of a dude to do that. Was that? That's not.
I should have. Yeah, if I would have thought of that, I would have.
Was it close though? How close?
No, I mean, it was. I had a couple meetings with them. I had a meeting with them in New York. They had offered the job, but I said, "Listen, I didn't never told them I was coming. I never hinted that I was coming, and how that got out there, who knows? But certainly, when I got back to West Virginia, we had some, a lot of people that said, Coach, we're going to step up even more because I wanted some facilities improvements, stuff for the staff, and some promises were made. And I'm like, this is great. And so, I didn't go there, and most of the things that they promised, some of them they did, but a year later, some of the things that were promised weren't done. But nonetheless, I didn't regret it at all at the time, and I was glad to be able to be with you guys one more year.
Did you think at all whenever the Michigan job came, because of how it ended there with 13-9? I mean, I had worst game of my life. It was not a good – worst night of my life probably.
In that game, it just pisses us all off because people say – I mean, we didn't play well. I didn't coach well. It was the worst night of my football football life. But that had nothing to do at all with any coaching decisions, certainly not the Michigan thing. So that pisses me off when people say, well, if anything else, I wanted to come back and win a national championship to prove that.
Well, that's what I wanted to say, though. Was there ever a thought like, you know what? I got a guy still in Pat. Who knows if Steve's coming back, but we got Noel coming back. Like we still got
that was a huge part of it. That's why I was so torn. And had been like the things that was promised the year before, had they delivered all of that like they said, and the $50,000 for the system, have they not just this young new administration when it just dismissed it and said, listen, we've done all we can for you, take it or leave it. I'm like, I'm trying to win a national championship here. And what I'm fighting for obviously helps me, but more than anything, it helps our program. It helps West Virginia. And so that was the frustrating part about all that. You're right. I think the program was in good shape for sure when we left.
As somebody who, if somebody disrespects me, I will hold it against them forever. I could see how whenever you're told something's going to happen and we continue to produce the way we produce. I mean, that's the golden era of Mountaineer football. I mean, Pat won 5 bowl games if you count the Senior Bowl, 2 of them being BCS games. I mean, it's just that run there. I could see how like here we are on January 13th, 2021, and I think I fully understand why you wanted to slap him in the mouth and say, I'm out of here. And also it's Michigan, too. I mean, there's billionaires that are just strolling out of cafes up there. I mean, that's a whole different world.
But, that was a frustrating part because we had built it. I said everybody, the players, coaches, staff, the fans, all have built it to this point. And I would have taken one more step so not only could we win it, but we could stay there where we were at because we were in a pretty good
spot.
My gosh, so that was disheartening a little bit. That wasn't the only reason, but that was the main reason why I'm like, okay, gosh, Michigan's got a brand name. I'll just take that same kind of culture and bring it there. And then again, that culture took a couple years to take hold and didn't have enough time to finish it. But nonetheless, it was a move you make and you live and move on. And now I'm at a point where it's I get an opportunity to coach my son. My daughter and I are doing podcasts, but you got to come be up visit on the Hard Edge Football Podcast.
Would love to
get to coach and ball a little bit.
You the final thing before I can't thank you enough for your time here, man. I really look forward to this, and I didn't know which time when it should happen. You getting a new job, I think it was just the perfect timing. So I appreciate you doing this. Your offense, how Mummy had the air raid offense, right? He's the father of the air raid offense. The spread offense, though, that is all over college and the NFL right now. Now, granted, there are air raid pieces in the NFL, but there's a lot of spread. That's kind of like, I don't want to speak out of pocket here, but were you one of the founders of that? Was that your offense? How is what you're seeing right now all over the place, you think has been influenced by an offense you created at, I forget what small school it was.
It's at Glenville State. They say that necessity is the mother of invention. Well, 30 years ago or 25 years ago, and I was coach at Glenville State. It was a perfect job to take because they were 0-10 year before we got there and got shut out 7 times. And so we get a first down and got a standing ovation. I'm like, shit, this is the best place in the world. So at the time, I'm like, okay, blank's late. What are we going to do? And I always, as a defense, I was a defensive guy before then. I'm like, okay, I'm a coach offense. What's the hardest offense to defend? It always seemed like anytime somebody went in their 2-minute drill, they would go up and down the field. I'm like, why don't they do that the whole game, right? So I thought, okay, Glenville, we're going to be something unique. We're going to go no huddle, shotgun, and then go a 2-minute drill the whole game. And that was the birth of this type of offense. Then the zone read came a couple years into that, some of the other stuff that we're doing. And here 25 years later, we've tweaked it a lot. We've done some different stuff, but the base of it started out of necessity at Glenville State. And it's been neat. The NFL was the slowest to change, to get guys in the gun, do some athletic quarterback type of stuff, some zone read stuff. But now you see it both on Saturdays and Sundays, which is kind of neat.
Well, ULM 0-10. I'm assuming they did get shut out a couple times. Can't wait to see the standing O you get down there. Thanks for joining us, Coach. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Pat. Keep it touch. Appreciate it. Proud of you, bud.
Hey. Go dominate down there. Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Rodriguez. His cops were not at the party.
No, they were. Showed up later.
He was right. The cops were not at the party.
You ever get tossed from a game or no?
Who, him?
Yeah.
I don't know how. He almost, oh, fuck. He almost fought. There was a guy down at USF. He used to run sprints before the game. The Bulls. Blonde-haired guy. I forget his name. Anyway, I think him and Coach Rod potentially had a couple moments where we thought they were going to fight.
Damn.
We were pumped.
Yeah.
We're because I think the guy was a pretty big guy and he did some stuff. I don't know if they ever did, or if we were just misreading the situation. But there were some exchanged words, if you know what I'm talking about. Whenever and we're like, oh my god, this guy has no idea. Rich Rod is about to pummel him. Rod's on the goddamn stair stepper every single morning, like 5:30 a.m. just going his height, maybe 2 Eiffel Towers, and then coming back down. He was a very, very intense guy.
Yeah.
But he is hysterical. If you can add hilarity with intensity, that's what practices were. And there were some moments where you're scared to death, like what's going on. But then whenever you recount it, it's like, oh my God, that was one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard said at that moment. What's up?
Maybe Jim Levitt was the coach down there.
Yeah. Was he younger whenever we were there?
At the time, yeah, and he wore the visor with the spiky hair out
Blonde
of the top.
hair, yeah. I believe him and Coach had a couple. And then him and, rest in peace, I believe, Maryland coach, Ralph
Friedgen.
Friedgen.
Yeah.
I believe they had a hilarious interaction as well after one game.
So those are both after the game they almost fought? Or
Yeah. I don't know if they're after or before. The Ralph one I think was after. The Levitt one was maybe before. I forget. But obviously, whenever you're winning a bunch,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? Like there's teams that are not going to be exactly thrilled with you. Especially, I don't know how, I would love to hear what Coach Rod says to other coaches, by the way, because he probably drops a chest shit talk in the middle of, if I had to guess.
To a ref even.
Are you kidding me?
It's wild that he's talking about that West Virginia wouldn't give him $50,000 for his coaches.
All of them.
Yeah.
Not one coach.
I looked it up.
That is
Alabama's
crazy.
coaching staff between all of them is $7.75 million. But AJ just talked about it the other day how Fickle's losing his coaching staff because bigger schools are offering to pay them more money. Rich Rod, West Virginia, Fickle, Cincinnati seems like it's a very similar situation there.
We always heard that there was like very similar, by the way. And watching those Cincinnati teams, I think that is why I was so kin to them, because it felt like they were kind of like us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And by the way, our first game against the SEC was Georgia in a bowl game. Now, granted, ours was a BCS game. This one was not.
Damn.
So I saw them winning that game. It's like, okay, here we go. This is literally the exact same squad. Got an athletic quarterback who's very good. Yeah. It seems to have a defense that hums a little bit. They seem to like each other a lot. And Fickle's a great head coach. And then, hey, don't let history repeat itself, Bearcats.
Yeah.
You're all Cincinnati's got. The Bengals stink. Come on.
True.
Fucking sub them out, dude. Get them some money down there.
So you didn't know about that $50,000 thing?
No,
That
we had
was
no
news
idea.
to you?
We heard that there was a potential conversation behind the scenes with him and either the athletic director or the president, but I didn't know that it was just that. Like, I had no idea it was like that.
Wow.
But the only thing we had was we had a hell of a fucking team who had still another year. Like, you know what I mean? We had another year. So a lot of us were like, no matter what was happening behind the scenes, you have to come back. But now that I'm an adult, like, if I was just, hey, listen, I just put your fucking university, okay? I put this university, the school that I went to, on the goddamn map. I would like to help out the boys a little bit. I would like to do some other things. They're like, we've done all we can. It's like, hey, fuck you. How about that?
If you think about 50K is what, 2 kids' tuitions or maybe 1/4 of ticket sales at a game?
Or, by the way, you can just, fake the admission price just for 1 year, and it's probably one person.
I was going to say, I feel like finding $50K really isn't that difficult in the college football program, especially one that's winning BCS bowl games.
And I'd assume that he could. So I think that's why Rich Rod was like, you could do this. Yeah. You're choosing not to. Is this how this is going to be forever? And Michigan goes, but boy, we were confused. I was like, bro, come on, bro. I'm getting death threats right now. Can we come back and win this thing? Hour 2 is on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Hey, what things are going good, Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis, his dad was a quarterback in Texas. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. That's an embarrassing situation. The dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to. What sign am I going to make for college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU. It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience. You're heading right for the boat. Right now? Okay, let's do it. We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do. That's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! A lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Do we have any other shirts? Yeah, hold on.
You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Russia. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My chest hurts. It was like 5 feet. I was standing there. That's full commitment, by the way.
I could see how a guy like Richard Sherman, who's been in the league a long time and has had success, could be like, hold on. This young little isn't going to dap me up. But on the flip side, Baker's like, well, you're enemy number one for me. Because that's how Baker has always operated.
And now Richard Sherman says, so you don't see any difference in the way I shake everyone else's hand, and the guy who stands back with the petty shake was BS, and I took offense to it, then turns and runs off. It's not that big of a deal.
It swept the nation yesterday. It was controversy like no other controversy in the NFL world. Joining us right now, Richard Sherman. Everything you do and say is going to get talked about. Do you agree?
I would agree.
Baker Mayfield is also a man that everything he does and says is going to get talked about. Do you agree?
I wouldn't agree as much, but sure. So I put my hand out, just out of courtesy. And he gives me a little petty slap on the hand. And I took it as disrespect. People can say, oh my God, he shook your hand. Like, what? Oh my God, you were wrong. You can say whatever you want. I don't give a damn.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Like, hey man, I apologize for the misquote there. I did see on video the dap up, although it was a bit petty. I apologize for everything that happened, or are we just moving forward?
Oh, it's going to be a bit of both. It's definitely my bad. I never want anybody to have to deal with some shit some stuff that they didn't do, And so I'll probably reach out to him via text or social media to actually get a hold of him and talk to him in person. First off, that was a great name y'all came up with, like Dapgate. I was crying laughing. But yeah, he definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Richard, I'll tell you what, bro. To show the humility right there to say, hey, my bad on that entire thing. Once I watched the film back, it was different than what I thought. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot more respect for you. They should at least.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. Hour 2 on this January 13th, 2021 sports show on Sirius XM begins right now. Joining us now, by the way, had to write these down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Laundry list.
Laundry list.
It is a thick list of accomplishments. Man who is still being referred to today when comparing incredibly gifted athletes of all sports. Ladies and gentlemen, this man's in the Hall of Fame. He was an NFL MVP, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, obviously the Offensive Rookie of the Year, 10-time All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler in a 10-year career.
Jeez.
He won the Heisman. He's the 4-time NFL rush yards leader, and he is here to represent for Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes, where people are going to win. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Sanders. How's it going, man?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
Hey, I saw your name on the sheet that we were talking today. Until I just saw my face next to yours, I don't think I fully understood. They go, we're interviewing like a goat. Right now. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, dude. Really appreciate that.
Hey, man, it's great to see you, too. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Let's talk real quick. I just read off your list of accomplishments. I would assume all of those kind of ring true. But the Lions not winning a Super Bowl when you were there or doing anything, is that the only regret of your entire career? Do you have any regrets at all? Because look at this. 10-year career, 10-time All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler. That's called success, right? That's batting 1,000 right there. Is there any regrets at all in anything that you've done in your football life?
No, hey, look, I certainly feel like I missed out on that experience, Pat. I mean, ever since I became interested in the game as a kid, I understood how big it was to play in a Super Bowl. And just the fact that I ended up being able to be fortunate enough to play in the NFL, then you realize that how precious it is, that a lot of great players play this game. And that's one of those things where, hey, look, there's no guarantees when it comes to that. And you have to earn your way there. Your team has to earn its way there. We got close, but like they say, close but no cigar. But I can't, if I to say regrets, I don't know if I call it a regret. But I wish there's something I could have experienced. But just one of those things that happened in this game.
That was the poor phrasing on my part. I didn't mean regret, but like the only thing that didn't. I mean, you win the Heisman. I mean, you win the MVP, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, it is just you were the guy every single time you stepped onto a football field. It is incredibly awesome to be talking with you. Here we are, 23 years later, basically. Right? Is that 97? When was last year? When was your last year?
Right. 22, 23 years. Yes.
22,
yes.
23 years later. Anytime somebody does something that is just incredibly athletic on a football field, the early comparisons are, this guy kind of looks like Barry Sanders, won't be Barry Sanders, but kind of looks like Barry Sanders. That has to feel pretty good. And has there ever been somebody that they said, this guy is kind of like Barry Sanders, where you're like, you know what? I do believe that guy is similar to how I play.
No, you know what, Pat? That's always a huge honor, honestly, because I remember growing up watching the game and following different players and trying to go out in my front yard or whatever and imitate guys like Marcus Allen or Tony Dorsett, or Gale Sayers or Walter Payton or whoever. And so the fact that people see me in that same way is absolutely amazing honor. And it's sort of a way that my career has been able to live on. And so, yeah, there's a lot of great running backs that have come along, and that sort of, have sort of similar attributes, and so for me, it's always been, high praise.
What was it about you? Were so good. I mean, what was it? Was it your training? Like, did you have insane training routines? Was it your football IQ? What do you think it was that really led to the success you had on the field?
Well, I think it was a lot of things, but I always had that chip on my shoulder of that kid who wasn't recruited very highly and who coaches doubted. And so I was always serious about training, and I was always serious every time I stepped on the field because I knew it was a huge honor to play in this game and to play running back. After being a kid who Pat, I'm that young man who used to draw football men. I don't know how good my artwork was, but it was just something that I used to do just because I loved the game and had that passion. And so I think it was a combination of things, but every time I stepped on the field, it was serious business and it was a big honor.
Everybody talks about how you retired early, how you retired young, how you could have still played at a very high level. I also retired after a Pro Bowl year. Never gets talked about, but everybody still references it to this day that you still had a lot of years left. What exactly? For me, let me tell you. Now I'm nowhere near what you are, okay? But once I reached like the top, I don't think there was anybody doing what I did better. I realized the amount of work that if I wanted to maintain there, what it would take, the amount of focus, the amount of tension, the amount of mental, basically everything in my life would have to be towards kicking a ball. And I got to the point where I was content with what I did in the football world, with what I gave back to the game. And I thought if somebody else was to do how I would have to do it, if I wanted to do both off the field business and on the field business, I'd be disrespecting the position. I honestly thought that. Like, I was like, if you're in the NFL, you should be a full focus on it. I don't want to do that. So for me, there was a lot of things that went into play. For you, I forget the exact reasons that have been rumored on why. Was there a part of like you were content with your football life? What was the exact thought of retiring early whenever everybody on earth who watched you play every single week said you still had many years left if you wanted to?
Well, for me, Pat, it was just one of those things where after 10 years, I realized that drive and that determination, that fire, to continue to be a player wasn't there in the same way. And I had experienced everything but the Super Bowl, so for me, it really came down to those things that, after having a wonderful career that I could step away, that there was really no more to prove, and that I had a great run. I think that's probably one reason why I was able to step away because I had experienced such a great career. So some of those things are really why I was able to retire when I did.
You still got it?
You got some quick moves, man.
I was about to say, you still got it? You still got a little wiggle, huh? Still got a little?
Maybe very little. Very little.
Where do you live now, Barry?
I live in Michigan.
Oh, you're still up in Michigan?
I live in Michigan, outside Detroit. Yep.
Okay, you're a part of the council, I believe, if our intel is telling us right, that is maybe an independent or third-party group that helps people hire GMs and coaches and everything like. How did you get involved with that? And do you enjoy that process? And are the Lions, okay, we have a diehard Lions fan in here, and Evan Fox.
Sorry.
I mean,
you better have one. There you go.
I mean, to be honest, Barry, there's a lot larger story here we could tell you about Foxy's fanhood.
No, let's skip that.
Okay, but
We'll get into it next time.
I don't know if he would ever want to. With you, he might cry if the story got to him.
Please don't.
Yeah, but anyways, he's a diehard Lions fan. And it's like Jim Caldwell was there having success now. And then it's almost like pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. It's whenever you just want a little bit greed. Like, okay, we think we're here now. We want to go a little bit more. And then it's obviously taking a turn back, which is automatically reminding everybody of the last, 100 years with the Lions of this whole thing. Whenever you're giving advice on who should be a GM or a coach, and I would assume you take that job very serious, what are you looking for? What type of coach or GM do you think in Detroit would have success? How do we get the Lions, Barry? How do we get the Lions to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, hey, look, there must be a way.
Okay.
Right? First off, there must be a way to get this done. But, what happened with this particular situation, Pat, is the new owner, Sheila Ford Hamp, she just said, she's going to have Chris Spillman kind of lead the charge. You with a few others, and that Chris could reach out to me and just kind of bounce ideas off of me. I've spoken with him, but really he's the guy. Obviously he's been around the game many years as a commentator, and when you're commentating, obviously you really have to know the ins and outs of the personalities, coaches and players and what have you.
Yeah.
And obviously. Also, as well, Chris's brother is a general manager. Has been so in the league for many years. So that's kind of the situation we're in. I wouldn't say I'm heavily involved in making that decision. And I'm not trying to pass the buck, obviously. But Chris and Sheila are the ones who are gonna decide that. I don't want to take too much credit, but to some degree I am involved in the process. Like I said, I've spoken to Chris and. He has a good process of going about it. He understands, like I said, the personalities in the pro game as well as the college game. And he's looking at all possibilities and options. And one thing I know about Chris, he's a tough competitor. He loves the game. He loves the Lions. He understands the game, and so I think we're in good hands as far as who's searching for a new coach.
Diehard Lions fan, kind of Evan Fox.
Barry, back in '91, he led the Lions to their only playoff win in Super Bowl era. What was the city like after that? Because I saw the highlights in the Silverdome, and I thought the place was going to explode.
Oh, absolutely. It was so electric, man. It was so electric and so fun. And I just assumed that I'd play in several NFC championship games and have a chance to play in several Super Bowls. But that particular year, everything just kind of came together. And it's almost kind of really hard to put your arms around what was that thing that happened. Mike Utley being injured, was a big motivation for us. But yeah, that was the closest we came. We had a good run of playoff appearances and things like that. And it's just interesting that we beat a up and coming Dallas team that went on to win 3 Super Bowls in '91, and you would have thought that we would have had a chance to at least sneak in there and win one. But there's some incredible teams when you look back at it who won the Super Bowl when I played in the '90s. Really kind of historic dynasty type teams won Super Bowls, and so for that reason, I don't feel as bad for not winning one. So that's how it is.
Well, the thing about Detroit is not only the Lions, but also I think the Red Wings have gotten invited back into the NHL too. Yep. So hopefully.
Come on now, what are we saying here?
Barry, they weren't even invited to the game last year. They weren't even invited to the bubble. They said stay in Detroit. Don't even come. We'll get you guys up to the NHL back next year. Mm-hmm. That's what they said. But hopefully, I think the Lions fans, and I do mean this, they deserve it. You know what I mean? We're seeing the Cleveland fan base right now, right? And obviously they don't get a chance to be in the streets or anything like that, having a blast. Lions fans deserve it. And I would argue that many Lions fans probably say, hasn't been since Barry Sanders put on the fucking uniform that we've been worth a damn. So I hope it happens, Barry. I do hope it happens. But, the Red Wings, they stink. Right? They stink. Connor, what do you have?
Barry, another Lions legend that kind of stopped playing during his prime was Calvin Johnson. Do you ever talk to him? And also, do you ever see him kind of coming back to the Lions and helping the organization out the way you do?
I haven't. I don't see Calvin often. And so I've bumped into him maybe once or twice since he retired. And it would be great if he felt welcome to come back and to do anything with the Lions. And I know through being through that, through sort of going through that experience, sometimes it just takes a little time for one to just get away from it for a while and mature and see things a different way and whatever the case may be. But I know that I speak for the Lions and saying he's certainly welcome, and we hope that happens sooner rather than later.
Okay, so you and Calvin, interesting situations, right? And we talk about a potential curse on the Detroit Lions organization, and it's the paying back of the signing bonus or whatever. Is that what you're referring to whenever you talk about growing older and kind of looking back and realizing, like, okay, definitely not cool, and it seems like no other franchise probably would have done that. Andrew Luck actually got $25 million not to play from the Indianapolis Colts and Jim Irsay. But, like, is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're referring to? Because if you could see how you and Calvin would be very pissed off about that, especially with you two being the two from the Detroit Lions organization.
Well, it's never fun to have to write those large checks, but I can't speak for Calvin. I know for me, it was just a matter of time and sort of time passing and enough perspective on the situation, realizing that I'm a Lion for life, and I probably could have handled things different on my end as far as retiring, but after a certain number of years, you realize that, hey, look, the Lions are my family, and you move on. It were great memories. I don't know how Calvin feels about that, but obviously he's up for Hall of Fame this year, and so he put up great stats. People will always see him as a Lion, and eventually you just kind of put differences aside and come together and get past some of the differences you had in the past.
Yeah, and hopefully the billionaires will give you guys your money back. But do you ever put your sorry, I put you in that position there. But you ever put the gold jacket on, just walk around the house? I would.
No, I normally just save that for special occasions. So no, I don't do that. I wouldn't want to spill anything on it, or anything like that, or I wouldn't want anything to happen to it. So it's just normally tucked away in a safe place until I'm asked to wear it somewhere.
Man, could you imagine walking into a Filled restaurant? Hey, you guys got a seat? I thought so. Ty, what do you got?
Barry, whenever you watch old highlights of you, it seems like you just never got tackled. You made guys look like idiots more times than not. Was there anyone throughout your career who you felt like really had your number, or it was just like always, when you went to play them, you're like, oh, this guy's going to be up my ass all day?
No, I played against some just fantastic defenses and defensive players. And for me, it was always exciting, to go to Soldier Field, for instance, and play against a Reggie White, or go down to Tampa Bay and play against a John Lynch, or someone like that, or Derek Brooks, or at the end of his career, Ronnie Lott. The list goes on. Guys like Steve Atwaters, when I first came into the league, there were still a few players left from the 85 Bears, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, Dan McMichaels. I mean, the list goes on and on, man. I mean, my last game ever I played against Ray Lewis. And so I think great players bring out the best in each other, and they challenge you. And so there's a lot, you see a lot of my highlights, but I certainly had a few lowlights as well. Great defensive players, but you're right. We don't have to talk about that. I agree with you, Pat.
Hey, listen,
I absolutely agree with you.
Just like in music, only the bangers survive, boss. Okay, only the bangers survive. There's some artists from back in the day. You hear a lot of for instance, I'm doing this now with the new genre of music where I'm like, this song stinks. You guys are listening to it, but that song won't survive. Yes. That song will not survive. 10 years from now, there'll only be a few songs that survive because only the bangers survive. And that's in sports. Only the highlights survive, boss. And that is good news. I do wish you were able to play during the social media era, though, because I think the memes and the amount of the attention to the things you did to other professional athletes would have garnered a lot of attention. That is kind of a bummer. Hey, let's talk about the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares sweepstakes that you're representing here. A lot of winners, okay? It's the world's biggest Super Bowl Squares game. Whoa! Yes! There's a lot of Squares games on the Super Bowl. Yes, This is the world's biggest, Barry. Wow. Doesn't cost a dime to play, and you can gain way more. Wayne. Is that supposed to be Wayne?
Wayne?
Is that a word?
Probably not. I'm guessing.
Wayne's a word.
I'm sorry. You just saw me not be. There's a reason I'm not supposed to have this job, but I have it, Barry. So I don't really understand. Anyways, doesn't cost a dime to play, and you can gain way more than in your normal Squares games at your neighborhood Super Bowl party. With every score change, TD, extra point, 2-point conversion, field goal, safety, one $50,000 winner is picked randomly from the appropriate square. A $500,000 winner is picked at the end of the first half, and another $500,000 winner at the end of the game. Last year, in the first year of the sweepstakes, $1.75 million in prizes was handed out to 15 lucky winners. Wow. To enter, go to rocketmortgagesquares.com, and is open now through February 4th. $1.75 million in prizes last year. I assume it's only going to go up this year. rocketmortgagesquares.com. Are you playing?
I'm personally not playing. I wish I could, Pat.
You're not
I wish I could, but obviously it's a great game. We're giving away a lot of cash. You pretty much hit all the points. Every time the score changes, $50,000. Last year was a great success. Like you said, we gave away $1.75 million to fans, and we're looking for a great high-scoring game. We got some great quarterbacks and offenses in the playoffs as well still, and so hopefully we'll have a chance to give away a lot of cash. And like you said, go to rocketmortgage.com, find out more about it.
There is a lot of offense left in the playoffs. A lot of offense. We're talking about maybe $2 million in total prizes given up. Yeah, it's only going to go up. It's only going to go up. Wow. Go to rocketmortgagesquares.com. It's open until February 4th. Hey, Legend, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Pat, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
Why don't you go give a little motivational speech to the Red Wings? NHL starting this year. Maybe they should play a little bit, Barry. Stop on down there.
I may just do that, man. I may just do that.
Watch the protocols, though. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Sanders. He was cooler than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, wow. All-timer, that guy.
He's very good at the football, too.
10 for 10.
How do the Lions get guys like him and Calvin?
10 years, 10 All-Pros, 10 Pro Bowls.
How do you do
All right.
When you pick in the top 5 for every year, it's going to hit
when you
once
stink
over
more
once.
often
Matty
than
Stafford,
not.
too, by the way, number 1 overall pick.
Exactly. It's like, let these guys go. It's like a cage.
I had no idea that you guys made Barry Sanders pay back his money, too.
I actually didn't know that
I
either.
was doing a little research while we were on, and I'd noticed that they'd gotten to that dispute. But it seems like he's back in the good grade. He's back with the family. He's back with the Lions.
I wonder if they gave his money back. They
should have.
I don't know if they did.
I think he wound up paying half of it back. I think he
What?
wrote him like a $5.5 million check or something.
What if he was a bear, Zito?
Oh, Bear Down would not do that to him.
Yeah, they would never succeeded probably. But
What do you mean?
it seems like your owners there in the press conference. They have no idea they're even in the NFL. They have no clue.
It's not good.
Hey, they got a lot of money though. Hey, they got a lot of money. Hey, good for them.
They'll be good in 10 years.
Between them and Cal McNair, I mean, a lot of owners don't know what the hell they're.
I watch on Sundays. What? That dude was awesome.
Yeah, he really
So
was.
cool.
Fucking awesome. Barry.
So damn good.
They are going to give away. By the way, there's a lot of offense left. Now, Super Bowls tend to tighten up a little bit on offenses. Defense is kind of clasped down because they have 2 weeks to prepare and all that shit. But $1.75 million in prizes.
We
left.
might have a 45-42 final score.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
It feels like there are some offenses that are pretty relaxed and comfortable, and I'm not 100% sure if a fanless Super Bowl is going to get them, to tighten up in a situation that's going to be massive. What's up, Diggs?
Oh no, I was just the thought of a fanless Super Bowl. It was just sad. It was sad.
Wild.
They're going to have first responders, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
16,000 or
Oh,
something.
that's a decent amount.
Yeah, and you'll be able to hear them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
'Cause,
all.
by the
I
way,
just need a little noise in the back.
The first responders and the people who have been on the front, their lives have been miserable for 9 months. So whenever they get in that stadium, they're like, "You've been vaccinated? Yep, you've been vaccinated. Fucking right. Stone cold and $20 beers. Wait until they see how much they're charging them for beers down there. There's only 16,000 of you. You better bet you're paying $35, $40 a goddamn pint of beer down there for sure.
Especially with the
doubt
Super Bowl,
it.
because normally there's only 16,000 actual fans in stadium. The rest of it's just
Yeah.
like corporate and stuff. So
Bingo.
that should suffice.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. The Super Bowl crowd was very weird.
A lot of murmur.
It's a corporate event, correct?
It's very weird, yeah.
People who go every single year.
Yeah. Like they're football fans, they're NFL fans, but they're not diehard fans for either team. Now, who dat, right? Because we played the Saints. You did hear them in there, okay? There was definitely a large representative. In Colts fans, there was a large, but there is at least 33% of that stadium's filled with people who just like going to the
Big networking event.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just the whole, it's all. So it was nowhere near like the most intense environment you ever. It's actually the complete opposite. It's almost like you're at a Pro Bowl or something.
Bunch of Rob Lowe's sitting there quietly with the NFL Shield hat.
Especially going from the AFC
I love that
championship.
guy. Imagine if you're that handsome, you could just do whatever jackass shit you want to do.
Root for every team.
I'm gonna wear the ref's hat. Most guys have tried different ways to last longer in the sack, haven't they, Connor?
Oh yeah, I've tried everything.
Got to get there first, but when you get there, a lot of guys think about, what? You're starting baseball lineup?
No. Socks.
Do you say the Pledge of Allegiance in your head?
Oh yeah, every time.
How about backwards? Do you do the alphabet backwards?
ZWIXV.
Didn't get it right. ZYXWV. UT, RSR, QPO, NML, KJ. Oh, I used to be able to have it back in high school. That was how they tested whether or not you were underage.
Exactly.
So we memorized that. ZYXWV, UT, SR, QPO, NML, KJH, GFED, CBA.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Pretty good.
Anyways, the folks at Roman, a men's health brand,
the best.
They've created something you don't have to do what I just did. Even stumbling, maybe that would have helped actually.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this anymore. No. They've created something that's a tag team partner for you, and it's as small as something that can fit in your pocket so nobody knows that it's there.
Perfect.
It gets shipped to your door so nobody has a clue what you're getting. It's a discrete package. What it is, it's called a Roman swipe. A Roman swipe is something that you pull out of the tiny little packet that's in your pocket. You go ahead and rub that on your kit and caboodle and let it dry. It'll dry quickly. It will not transfer to your partner, and what you will do is you'll go to Ponton for longer than you ever have in the history of your Ponton.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right now, you get free 2-day shipping. Whenever you go to getroman.com/USA, that's GETROMAN.com/USA for free 2-day shipping. Go ahead and fornicate and make love for longer than you have before. Put on a show in there with Roman. GetRoman.com/USA. We got to get to a break. On the other side, we'll take some phone calls. Listen, let's make them good. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. It is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. Pat McAfee Show here on SiriusXM.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. In Brookings, South Dakota. Let's go!
College game day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not one we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's Daniel Russo.
Wax on, wax off, knee to the face.
World Series.
Go, yes.
These teams stink. With that 15, they celebrate by doing shotguns. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State is a win here. Not so fast again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. You look at this crowd, they've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town, they lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000, and when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Adam Vinatieri School
I told you I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on College Game Day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The College Game Day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. My coaches are. So this is a big-time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here.
Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room at the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted. Text from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity.
You do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Yes!
Hey, talk about a buzzer beater.
Here we go.
Man, I scrolled right. Welcome back to the show. Just had Barry Sanders on. Then in the first hour, we had Rich Rodriguez, former coach of mine, on. It was awesome watching West Virginia, Michigan, and Arizona fans react to that on email. He has a way of coaching, and I could see how the Michigan people did not enjoy it. But boy, if you were able to kind of get through it, you know, I could never do it now, ever in a million years. No. Never, ever do it again. But as an 18-year-old looking to get rich somehow, and also, you know, let's have success and have a good time here, it was probably, you know, something that we needed as a team. But boy, I could see how he went to other places and was not because boosters probably go to practice. I remember my dad and I, after I had signed, we went down for a spring practice, and that was, I think, my dad's potential first time really at a football practice as well, because my dad, I don't think, played football. So we were in the stadium, and we were like the only two there. We went down on it was just some random day. We went down there, like, come on and watch practice or whatever. Man, he was putting words together for people, like just the way he would float an F-bomb into some coaching and then like a little bit of a shot and then shit talk and then wrap it up succinctly and then just move forward. My dad and I were like, holy shit, this guy is just a different animal. I would assume when boosters walked in there for the first time from Michigan and saw him run a practice, they were like, he can't be talking to them boys like that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad he talked about not being a Michigan man, because that's a really big deal in Ann Arbor.
Well, by the way, I can understand it because you have to be able to understand Michigan. And Michigan is just a different, that place it was the nicest campus I've ever seen.
And they know it and they act like
it. It was unbelievable.
Turns out you can stink at coaching and still get a contract.
All right, let's go. Oh, whoa. Well, that's because you understand the kind of boosters, the way this whole thing operates, you know what I mean? Let's get to some phone calls here. Let's go to Chase in Baltimore. What's going on, Chase?
Hey, what's going on, bro? Bill and your fancy fishes and fish. Hello?
Yep, Chase, what's going on, pal?
Oh, shit, yeah. So I just wanted to ask you guys, it's about a coach that I don't feel like gets enough respect, and that is Jim Harbaugh, ex-NFL coach. Used to coach 49ers, whatever. My question is this, because I know about 5 or 6 years ago, there was like allegedly, I guess, like during playoff season, he wasn't letting players like listen to music on the plane. Like he was like forcing like camaraderie on people, I guess. And I just was like kind of wondering what your opinion is. Is that like a thing? Not that specifically, but is there like things that they do during the playoffs?
Chase, appreciate you, buddy. I mean, a miss of a call if you're going to go back and judge, but I appreciate what you brought in.
Only up from here.
Because we missed him early. He spoke so fast there. He had a line there that we missed. If I heard it, probably would have been good. I think he said ended with something with fish.
I think he was answering.
Yeah, it sounded like he was answering the phone like he worked at a fast food or takeout joint.
Oh, which I respect, by the way.
Which he's fish and chips. I think he's.
If he said that, I do respect. I didn't hear it though, so that's on me. Potentially, maybe a tech thing with my thing, maybe his thing. But I like what he did there.
Yeah.
The question about Jim Harbaugh, the forced camaraderie is the only thing I can really take out of that entire thing. Whenever coaches. So this happened down in Atlanta, I believe, when Petrino went down there, or Petrino? Which one?
Bobby Petrino.
Petrino. He went down to the Atlanta Falcons, and he took some of the college rules that you have with 18-year-olds. And this kind of went into my entire pitch about college coaches not necessarily always working with the NFL. Guys weren't allowed to talk at the meal, okay? Traveling, you're not allowed to speak to each other, like no words here. And it's like that they do that for the college kids because they feel as if like, okay, you should be focusing on the game. What are we having side conversations about? We have a game. Don't do anything like that. Real, that's like high schoolish. It's like more, and then when you try to do it in the NFL, that's not forced camaraderie. However, the coach wants to spin it. What that is treating adults like children, and that becomes a problem. You know what I mean? Because you got 35-year-olds who are being told by another person like you're not allowed to speak whenever you eat. Like, how about you go fucking eat somewhere else then? You can't hear us talk at all. You know what I mean? That's a little bit different. But in college, you could see how a coach potentially didn't want his team to like kind of, let's stay focused on the main thing here. Let's not do anything else. So two different worlds. And I think that goes into just the thought of Urban Meyer going into the NFL. I don't think I've talked to anybody that's ever played for Urban Meyer and had a full conversation about the atmosphere or the culture or anything like that. But that's why you have to call into question whether or not Urban will work, just like Saban didn't work for, I would assume, a lot of the reasons we're talking about right now, even though he's the greatest college coach of all time and all that stuff. It's just a different world up in the NFL.
Do you think Harbaugh's loosened up at all? Like, if he were to go back to the NFL, do you think he would know, like, oh, hey, you can't do this. I can't do the same shit I was doing when I was in San Francisco?
I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like he's an enigma. I don't think anybody really knows, Jim. You know what I mean?
Didn't he tell his players not to eat chicken because it's a nervous bird?
Yeah, nervous bird. And then he comes out in cleats. You know what I mean? And then what they said one day, he was dressed in full pads on the Tuesday or a Wednesday to play. I mean, I don't think anybody knows Jim Harbaugh.
Which is wild, too, because you look at his brother and how much success he's had in Baltimore. And would you try and emulate some of that and be, like, more open to the players?
Oh, so what, his dad, right? His dad? I think his dad's a big-time coach, right, for a long time or whatever? Like a family.
Well, and how hard is it to change your coaching style when you've been coaching just one way the entire life?
I only know one way. Let's go to Philly in Philadelphia. What's going on, Philly?
Hey, Pat. I'm just going to say you know absolutely nothing about hockey.
Oh my
God! This is not the 1970s Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah, I know.
Carter Hartzrob and the boys are going to skate that Corvette across all three rivers.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay, for those that don't know, okay, don't bring Juju into the goddamn Penguins organization.
He's gone.
Okay, there ain't no Corvette happening in that goddamn Penguins locker room, okay? Pittsburgh Penguins drop the puck for the NHL. I was going to say
kick off. Oh, yeah.
They do. They do kick it off.
They kick off the NHL season. They drop the puck for the NHL.
Hell yeah.
If you're the NHL, by the way, okay, nobody knew you existed in your bubbles, all right? It did happen, but Penguins lost early, so everybody kind of stopped watching because Pittsburgh Penguins aren't in there, so we'll stop watching. It was last year's NHL season they put into a bubble, okay? And they really let the teams that stink know that they don't want them in their league. For instance, Red Wings were not invited to the bubbles, okay? So Hockey Town was dethroned to a minor league Junior B, Junior A operation, okay? Now they're back in the NHL. Congrats to the Red Wings getting back in the NHL.
Pity.
Proud of the Red Wings.
Pity.
Another team that should have been dropped out of the bubble. And to be honest, with the decades and decades of failure at this point, damn near half a century at this point of without winning a cup, maybe the Flyers should have been kicked out of the bubble as well. So when the NHL said, hey, we're coming back, we're going to be on NBC Sports Network. Whoa. Everybody has that fucking channel. We're going to be on NBC Sports Network. We're going to go ahead and kick off this 2021 NHL season. They said, who do we put out there? The greatest player of all time, Sidney Crosby. And who's a terrible team that he'll beat the shit out of and he doesn't like? Philadelphia Flyers.
Boom.
So Philly from Philly talking out of his ass right there, trying to bring Juju, Corvette into the goddamn Penguins organization. Get the fuck out, Philly. Okay, you and the rest of that city. Although I'm sure you are Rust Belt people, tough people, gritty people. Gritty, by the way, pretty cool looking mascot, but tonight Gritty's about to get shittied on by Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's just a matter of fact. I think back in 2017, I did not do the math, June 11th, 2017.
Oh, yeah.
It had been like 15,527 some days since the Flyers had won a Stanley Cup.
Wow.
Just tack on 3.5 more years onto that thing of days. Flyers stink. Okay, and he said this isn't the same old Broad Street Bullies or whatever. You're right. Because the Flyers have stunk ever since then. I don't even know who's on the goddamn team. I know the goalie, Carter Hart or whatever. You just call him Heartthrob.
and the boys.
Heartthrob.
Yeah, tonight he's about to get fucking sliced and diced like Swiss cheese.
Lindros, I think, is on the team.
Yeah, Harden was there. Is he with his
Scotty?
with his Jerry curl out there?
I can't wait for the Guinos to go out there and put a beating on the Flyers.
Whoa. Let's go, Pens.
Can't wait.
Let's go, Pens.
Listen, I hate the Flyers more than anybody in this room, in this building. They are pretty good this year.
Well, see, that's the thing that I don't think I fully understood.
Not tonight.
But not tonight.
Not this night. For those that don't know, the NHL has a 56-game season this year. And if you don't know, that's a lot less than normal. This is going to be a sprint, and it kicks off 5:30 NBC Sports Network, a network that everybody probably has. Why the fuck is it on NBC? This is opening night?
Well, this is why no one watches.
Opening night,
Come
NBC
on.
Sports Network? What is going on, dude?
What do you want? It's the last year of the TV deal, all right? Next year, they're going to open it up. Everybody can jump in and bid.
Oh, yeah.
ESPN
I'll tell you what, with the numbers they're going to have on these games opening night, with what if it carries over from the college football thing that we've noticed and the NBA numbers and everything. These numbers are going to be so low, we might be able to fucking afford it.
Yeah. Every game should be on YouTube.
That would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome.
I love when games are on NBCSN, though, because it's the only time we get to watch the Pens.
Yeah, you're right, because out here in Indiana, they do not play them. They play the sorry-ass Blackhawks.
What are you talking about?
Or the relegated Red Wings.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
If you're looking for a tasty futures bet, Golden Knights plus 850 to hoist
Just take
Lord
the Blackhawks
Stanley's
while you're
trophy
at it,
at the
yeah.
end of the season. And they got a good team this year.
Nobody gives a fuck about the Golden Knights.
I'm just saying.
You know how many days it's been since the Golden Knights won the Cup?
Well, they've never won the
Well,
Cup.
2021 years.
Wow, that sucks.
They've only been around.
In BC. Didn't even count.
Wow.
Nobody cared.
They've only been around a couple years. Admittedly, sometimes in
More
the
like the
playoffs,
poopy
they
nights.
have cement in their skates, all right? Just they're going to be fine.
Let's go to Robin in New York City. What's going on, Robin? When was the last time you were outside?
Yesterday, man, I went to go pick up some fucking pizza.
I like that. I'm happy you're getting some Arizona out there. What do you want to talk about, brother?
So being a sports fan in New York fucking sucks. So I wanted to ask you, if you were the Jets general manager, would you keep Sammy D and draft Devontae Smith, or just take another risk with Justin Fields?
Okay, so the weapon is Devontae Smith the highest non-quarterback?
Yeah. There's been a few debates on other sports shows about how the Jets should take him number 2.
Because you got Jamar Chase as well, right? Who's going to be in the conversation. How about some running backs? I mean, there's a lot of running backs out there as well. Devontae is a real game changer, though. If his game can translate to the NFL, which it feels like the rookie wide receivers are a position that can translate into the NFL if you have a good offensive coordinator. Now, who's going to be calling the offense for the Jets? I mean, that is a whole nother question there. The Sam Darnold debate on where the hell he's going to play, what are they going to do moving forward, that's going to heat up. I mean, who's going to be the head coach? Everybody thinks it's going to be Doug Peterson because of his relationship with Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is now the general manager of the Jets. He became the general manager of the Jets after the Le'Veon Bell deal, after Adam Gase was already there. I mean, Adam Gase was acting GM and head coach for a while. Joe Douglas comes in, kicks Adam Gase to the curb. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. You guys almost went completely defeated. You didn't stink. And you lost the number 1 overall pick for us. Get out of here. What are they going to do with Darnold? What team is he going to build? Who's going to be the coach? There's so much to figure out and decipher over there before you make the decision. If you're going to get a great offensive guru who's going to be able to protect your quarterback and your quarterback's just going to be able to sit back there and make throws, I don't know why you'd move on from Sam Darnold right now because he can make every single throw. Or do you want to rebuild everything and kind of start from the ground up, hopefully trade Darnold and maybe pick up some pieces to kind of do the full rebuild? I mean, there's a lot of questions over there. I don't know if Devontae Smith at 2 is even the first one or maybe the 100th one that has to be answered for the Jets yet.
Well, they should throw their hat in the ring with bring in Bieniemy and then go after Deshaun Watson, right? The number 2 plus Darnold and a few other firsts for Watson.
There was just a tweet there that Bieniemy is probably going to or pretend. I don't who. Somebody sent that tweet into the group. There was that you, Gumpy. What happened with Bieniemy there? There's some like.
They're saying that the coaching cycle might go through without him being hired at this point.
7 jobs were open at one point, right? 7 jobs, and there was a lot of backlash about him not getting a gig last year. I would assume this year it's going to be much louder if he does not get a gig. But you're talking about the Texans have interviewed him because of the whole Deshaun Watson situation. Yeah. Right? They interviewed him, 2 days ago?
Well, they put in the request, but they missed the initial interview window, so now they have to wait until after he's out of the playoffs.
Another swing and a miss by the Texans.
No.
What do you mean?
Not Houston.
Hey. Andre Johnson talking like that?
Send him over.
That guy's one of the nicest guys of all time.
Yeah.
Like, classy. Now, granted, I do have to allude to him beating the hell out of a guy.
He deserved it.
Quietly,
Yeah.
though.
But
Very
it's-
quietly.
aside from that, though, I mean, he is always like super, whatever you need, here we go, let's do it. And then for his last tweet, I guess, was, I don't know, maybe a year ago?
April 2019.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
There's a Crown Royal ad.
Well, he literally was sitting there and was watching it all. He goes, what's my login? Does anybody have my fucking password? When was the last time I logged? Let me go ahead and do this. It's just, and then everybody else who's ever been a teammate of Andre Johnson was like, well, if Andre's talking, that is somebody you listen to. And that is just, I feel the exact same way as Arian. I'm not down there, obviously, for the Texans, but being a teammate with Andre Johnson for 1 year, like, he's not just talking to talk. Like, it's not he's coming out like, you know what, I would like a little bit of shine here, so I'm going to speak. He's only speaking because he feels like he has to. It's wild. It's a wild scene.
Going back to Bieniemy, do you think he stinks at interviewing for jobs then, or what?
I don't know. It's always the Zoom calls. I'd wonder how those go. And last year he didn't get a gig. I wonder how much of the conversation revolves around how much is Andy Reid doing?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that is probably everybody's big question. And I'm not saying I know the answers. I do not know the answers to that. But I would assume a lot of people in the NFL are thinking, like, there's a reason Andy Reid's offenses are always so good. And that X factor would be Andy Reid.
Right.
And everybody else that kind of gets hired because of Andy Reid hasn't always been great. So I think there is a growth. Yeah, here it is. Matt Miller at NFL Draft Scout. He's been texting with an NFL source.
Okay.
Whoa.
Just an NFL source, by the way. Is it NFL social media person?
Ah.
You know, is it NFL janitor? Is it NFL mailman? NFL GM?
Sorry, pal, anonymous.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Roger Goodell.
That
Amazon
is
delivery guy.
quite a spread, but I respect it. You know what I mean? Just kind of keeping it vague here. I want to let you know that it is associated with the league,
Yeah.
but not telling you anywhere near what it could potentially or who it could potentially be. Been texting with an NFL source this morning who thinks there's a very strong chance Eric Bieniemy isn't hired for a head coaching opportunity this cycle. Cites concerns about Reid's coaching tree and timing with Chiefs expected to make another Super Bowl run. That would be the interview window that you were referring to, and what we were just talking about with Andy Reid's assistants.
Jeez.
An NFL source.
Could be a COVID tester.
Could be.
Could be.
Are they only testing NFL people? Because then they would be considered an NFL source.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But maybe they're listening to conversations while doing a COVID test, like
Exactly.
like a barber.
And asking questions even. Hey, who you guys thinking about hiring?
A lot of anonymous sources there. What was that source's angle there? Who was it? You know, was that a team that potentially has a head coaching available and say, hey, this is why we're not hiring them? Can somebody put this out there so we don't look like bad guys for not hiring them? I would assume that's probably what it is. What's up,
I mean,
Vince?
Andy's got some good branches on his tree. Sean McDermott, John Harbaugh.
What?
Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl.
People forget he's got a statue already.
Ron
He
Rivera.
got fired, but
True.
he got a statue.
Ron Rivera.
Respected by everybody.
Matt Nagy. Todd Bowles is a good DC.
Todd Bowles is potentially going to get a head coaching gig. That's what people are saying.
Pat Shermer was good OC. Leslie Frazier, good DC.
Hey, Bucks Saints this weekend, by the way. I'm getting worried.
Can't wait.
They replayed Saints Bears, and the Bears stink, but they replayed it, and you watch. What's that?
What?
Bears stink.
Bears stink.
I think Saints stink.
No, but the Bears stink. You actually saw it in a press conference today. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched you watch why.
Yeah.
I know. I did watch that, and I was not happy.
You were in the comments there, weren't you?
I was. I was trying to get some questions in there.
Nice.
They would not have been able to be answered with any football IQ if it was needed.
Oh, no. Oh,
No. That operation up there is strictly a business.
Hey, give it another
There's
shot
only
next
no
year.
football, yeah.
I bet you could set up a hockey question, and they would think it was potentially the NFL.
Oh, yeah, we still have tapes.
Yeah. Hey, so whenever they skate, okay, for the first down, and then they score in the goal, what are your initial thoughts about the team? Well, I love what they're doing.
Coach Nagy knows what he's doing. He's going to get our guys.
These motherfuckers have no idea.
No clue.
Not all of them, but
Most of them.
The ones that are talking.
yeah, it seems like. Let's go to Devin in Los Angeles. What's going on, Devin?
Hey, Matt. Hey, Pat. Based on these past few years the Bears have been doing, how do you feel about the Bears re-signing Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace?
Yeah. By the way, Chuck Pagano retiring. Big shout out to Chuck.
Yeah,
We miss you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. Chuck's an epic human, an absolutely epic human. I was very lucky to play for a team that Chuck coached. In the picture that we're putting up on YouTube right now, Chuck was motivating me to not be soft and go out that night at Super Bowl, even though I had a terrible hangover. A guy's guy, a guy you want to drink beers with, did a lot for the game. He was special teams coordinator, I think, at the U back in the day whenever they had a bunch of swagger. He's been everything and done everything. I'm very thankful, and congrats to Chuck on a hell of an NFL career.
Chuck. Thank you, Chuck.
I hope he gets into the media so he can tell some stories because he is hilarious and electric. But the Bears, it feels like if you watch that press conference, any Bears talk, we're just going to say direct to the press conference that Zito just watched.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they absolutely stunk last year, and they're not making any changes outside of.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't
make the
re-sign
playoffs,
him
yeah.
either. They just have one more year left, and they're just seeing if they can, ride it out.
No
or
extensions
not.
were given out.
There were no extensions.
So
Nagy and
they're an
Pace?
organization.
So it's a big prove it year.
Paying
Again.
You might say it, yeah.
Again.
Let's go to Jeff in Nebraska. What's going on, Jeff?
Bring Mitch back.
Not much, Pat. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, I was wondering, I'm a Washington football teamer, and a lot of things have gone on this season between Rivera, emotions with the quarterback, and there's no GM right now. So I was just wondering, is there a name you think that'd be good for Washington to go out and really get that quarterback that they've been looking for the last 20 years?
Jeff, great question, Nebraska. And I wish I knew more for you. I don't have a clue about any of these GMs. Like, for instance, a new general manager was named in Denver. His name is George Patton. He was the assistant general manager for the Minnesota Vikings for a long time. In his opening statement, he said that he feels like the Denver Broncos are a sleeping giant. He can't wait to get to work. This comes after John Elway promotes himself while firing himself within the Broncos organization. I don't know who the hell the guy is, and I don't think anybody can judge him until you see how his teams do. That happens a lot in the GM hiring world, but whenever it comes to coaches, you normally know who the hell they are. When it comes to the GM world, scouts and the assistant this and director of this and all that stuff you never really know about unless you're in the business. This is another one of those occasions. Omar Khan was getting interviewed for the Houston Texans. He's been with the Steelers for a long time. I had no idea he existed until he got the interview. Feels like that happens on a regular basis when it comes to general managers.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're familiar with the organization, like I am with Omar Khan, like you have I have no idea who any of these GMs are.
No clue.
No.
They got George Patton, though.
Yeah, unless they've been a GM somewhere else.
General George Patton's taking that general managership right to the top.
Yeah, their defense might be questionable, but their offense is going to be dynamite.
Everybody says the complete difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Vic Fangio was leading that defense, and the offense made a lot of question marks. And they actually they spent the entire year saying, is Drew Lock our guy or not? And they got to week 17.
Yep.
They still don't know.
And that's why Patton's going to flip them on their head.
Patton war game joke?
No, because I don't know anything about his war tactics.
Let's go to Jordan in New Hampshire. What's going on, Jordan?
Hey, Pat, what's up?
Just hanging out, Jordan. What do you want to talk about, dude?
Yeah, so I got some alarming stats for Packers fans. So, Rodgers is
quick. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, so Rodgers is 0-4 against Bruce Arians as a head coach.
Wow.
He's got 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 54% completions, and then he's 1-2 against Todd Bowles with teams that have Todd Bowles on the staff.
Oh no!
Stop playing those guys.
Yeah, does he know what week it is?
Call next week.
What about the Rams?
What's that, dude?
You got any stats on McVay versus Rodgers for this weekend?
Do we have any? Have they played? Rams, Packers? Since McVay's been the guy?
Maybe once.
Who's D coordinator over there? Wade? Is
Not
Wade still
anymore.
who's the D coordinator now for the
To
Rams?
be honest, I'll look it up.
That's a little deep. That's a deeper dive into the gambling world than I go. I don't do the entire by the way, smart.
Yeah.
That's a smart way to go about gambling. Okay, that's a very good idea. I'm a big feels guy though, but you know why? Because I don't want to have an out for every failure and say it was the analytics.
Mm-hmm.
I go with feel. And have I been chilly? Possibly.
Last time the Packers played the Rams in 2018, they lost.
The Packers did?
Yeah.
Rams
What
are
does that mean?
0-6 against the spread. Their last 6 against the Packers.
Easy as that, dude.
Bingo.
Fucking bingo. That's the analytics. I want the one that fits my narrative.
Free money.
Give me the stats that fit my viewpoint. Welcome to the world in 2021, pal.
Yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah.
Put a camera on me. Give me some stats that can feed my narrative and make me look smarter.
Right now.
Legitimize my bullshit.
Please.
This is 2021. Preach it. Hour 3 is on the other side of the break. You have about 6 minutes here on SiriusXM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Hockey's back.
Shattered his hip.
Maybe back to my corner.
Hey, pal. The question.
Busted my tailbone, boys.
The question. Yeah, you should keep your helmet
I'll
on.
keep it on.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Too much. They really just inflate it back. Did they just send somebody down there?
I don't know the procedure, but I just know they reinflate it.
Not quite, Pat McAfee. Let's talk. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and this is your #1 source for learning about the unique medical side of the world of sports. Someone sent me this clip from the Pat McAfee show the other day where he was talking about how they treat and manage a collapsed lung like Drew Brees had. And no real hate on Pat here. He's not a doctor. He shouldn't know. But they completely misexplained here what they do. And so I'm going to clear it up in this video by reacting here to what he said and fill in the gaps to explain to you guys how they really treat this with Drew Brees' collapsed lung.
Collapsed lung. How many lungs you got? 2?
Yeah, that's it.
So we're off to a good start. Pat McAfee's right here. We have 2 lungs, a right and a left, but within each we have multiple lobes. On the left side, it's pretty easy. We have a left superior lobe, and then we have a left inferior lobe. On the right, a little more complicated, but still pretty easy. We have a right superior lobe, we have a right middle lobe, and then we have a right inferior lobe. So 3 lobes on the right, 2 lobes on the left, still 2 lungs overall.
What's the deal? Everybody talks like, oh, punctured lung, not that big of a deal. Collapsed lung, not that big of a deal. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, usually a collapsed lung is not that big of a deal, but they can develop something called a tension pneumothorax where that pressure builds up so much in the lung that it can actually push on the blood vessels of the heart, impairing your cardiac output, and can actually be fatal. So typically, yeah, collapsed lungs, while very painful and needing management, aren't always life or death. They can develop into a tension pneumothorax, which actually can be fatal. So they have to be taken very seriously nonetheless.
It's a couple. They work together.
Oh, so he tag team each other? Or
I believe so.
Tag
Yeah.
one in,
Yeah.
tag one in?
Good point here too. The lungs do work together. There are people who can have a lobectomy where they essentially remove one of those lobes of the lung and you can still get enough oxygen perfusion to your blood. So yes, when someone has a collapsed lung, they can still get enough oxygen for kind of vital functions, but you're going to feel very short of breath and it's going to be super painful.
One picks up the slack.
And when the one collapses, how come do they just send like people go over there and just like take a plunger and like bring it back?
They
Like,
inflate it.
How's it work? How do the lungs?
All right, so they do not just re-inflate the lung whenever somebody has a collapsed lung. And this is kind of the biggest misconception here from his video.
We went to high school with a kid who had a collapsed lung in a game.
Also note here, I've had multiple collapsed lungs, so I've kind of been through this in terms of the symptoms and how they treat it, so I have a little bit of experience, unlike a lot of the other sports injuries I talk about.
Inflate it, and then you're out for
What? Wait,
blow it up like a
send something
balloon.
down like a bed, like an air mattress.
Exactly.
And you got somebody just stepping on it.
Yeah, it was like in Space Jam, right?
And then they check the PSI, and then they puncture it. You know what I mean? Like the thing. Oh, too much.
All right, so I know Pat's kind of joking here, probably intentionally, but might not actually understand how we actually treat these. No, you don't go in and re-inflate the lung when the lung collapses. What you do is you suck the air out of the space around the lung, which allows the lung to re-inflate itself. Our lungs are surrounded by this layer of tissue called a visceral pleura, and then there's a parietal pleura that's on the inside of the chest wall. There's a potential space in between those two linings, and that potential space is actually at a negative pressure with normal breathing. When you have a collapsed lung, what's happened is there's air that's escaped the lung or gotten in from the outside of the body that goes into that potential space and the pressure goes up. As the pressure goes up, that increasing pressure actually pushes the lung inward. So it's not really that the lung collapses, so to speak. It's more so that the lung is getting pushed to collapse because of the pressure in the chest building up from excess air. What they actually do to treat these is, if it's an emergency type of situation, they'll take a needle with an empty syringe and they'll stick that into the chest to allow that pressure to blow out and escape from the chest wall to let the lung reinflate. When somebody puts a chest tube in, it's trying to drain the air from the chest cavity, so you're not putting air back into the lung to pump it back up like an inflatable bed. You're pulling the air that's got into that space out so that the lung can reinflate itself.
They really just inflate it back. Did they just send somebody down there?
I don't know the procedure.
So again, no, they don't send anything down there. They come in from the outside, they put a needle in, they put a tube in. That allows the air to escape, which lowers that pressure and lets the lung reinflate.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to said show. It is Wednesday, January 13th. We've had Barry Sanders on the show. We've had Rich Rodriguez on the show. And now, a legend. Ladies and gentlemen, college football national champion and Super Bowl champion, AJ Hawk.
Oh, my God.
AJ, how's it going, pal?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So I'm telling you, man, something's up. It just froze the second you came on.
This classic internet. Tanking the goddamn show, isn't he? Every single day.
Same shit, different
Every day.
God damn it.
Takes the show, okay, picks it up, throws it on the ground, stomps on it, scoots it away,
Spits on it.
and then blames us.
You guys
Hey,
guys,
your show stinks.
You think I like it? I don't know when it freezes up, but you guys just have these weird looks on your face when I'm in the middle of talking. I don't know what's going on.
If it means anything, you and Rich Rodriguez have the same internet. It was happening to him as well. So 2 out of the 3 calls today have had a similar situation. So we appreciate you battling through like you seem to do every fucking day.
Yeah,
It never happens with anybody else. But AJ, great to have you, pal. We really appreciate it. Talking to Barry Sanders, that guy, now granted, you never played against Barry Sanders, but all I see is highlights. Yeah. And I kind of feel bad because what he was saying, how only people see highlights of him. I have only seen highlights of that guy. I really don't. But that has to be what? Top of the list for toughest guy to tackle in the history of the NFL, Barry Sanders?
Yeah, especially on that old school Detroit turf. Can you imagine trying to stop? Like, that dude could stop and start anywhere on the field. So, yeah, what year did he retire?
97.
Yeah, so I remember watching him a little bit, I think, as a kid. But, yeah, I've seen the highlights 5 million times.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He was really cool. And then my college coach, Rich Rodriguez, was on. He just took a gig. You watch that?
I had to when I heard you had Rich Rod. I went just right before this. I watched it all. It was amazing.
Barry Sanders retired in 99. There's a fact check. I lied. I got it wrong right to his face. Jesus.
You were there,
He didn't correct you. Oh, yeah, 22.
Yeah, he did. He did try to correct me, but he just thought I did the math wrong. Rich Rod, him going down to ULM. Those kids in that locker room have no clue what's coming in. I mean, those kids, they went 0-10 last year, right? They probably just lose games, just walk in that locker room. Well, there's another one, boys.
What are we doing tonight?
That ain't going to happen. Just a little heads up. Just a couple years ago, Ole Miss, Mississippi State Egg Bowl. I got to call it alongside Matt Hasselbeck, Adam Amin, and Molly McGrath. And the coaches were literally one glass pane away, utilizing the same shelf that we had, right? Mm-hmm. So they were just on the other side, and it was Rich Rod, right? Like Rich Rod and I were less than 2 feet away for that entire game because I was in the corner and there was a window. The blinds were completely shut, so I couldn't see in there, but I could hear, and I heard a couple, my ass, like I heard like a couple while I was calling the game. I heard college happening through the other side. Kicker misses extra point, if you do recall, after wide receiver pisses on the field, 15-yard penalty. That's how they lose, okay? He misses that kick. I heard Coach Rod in there. I heard him. Yeah. He was hitting the thing. I mean, he hit the thing one time, and it rattled my phone. I saw it. I was like, oh, shit. And I even told the guys, I'm like, yo, something's going down right here. Then I heard him pick up his stuff and walk out. And his next stop was that locker room. So that kid that pissed on the field, man, I don't know if he was very upset about losing, but he should have been. And if he wasn't, that was going to – Rich Rod's going to go into ULM, and I don't know what their over-under is on wins next year. Let's go ahead and assume it's the over. And then the next year after that, let's assume it's the over for that. I'm pumped that he's back in the coaching.
This guy.
Good Lord.
What do we do? Do we deserve this?
He thinks it's fun in games.
Sabotaging the show.
Yeah, he thinks this is cool.
We talked about hockey. We already tried to sabotage the show enough. We don't need him fucking doing that.
What's he going to come back talk about the NBA? This guy.
It's unbelievable. We'll talk to him about Andre Johnson talking about Cal McNair and Jack Easterby ruining the Texans. We'll talk about Chuck Pagano retiring. In Chuck Pagano's retirement, he basically said, like, hey, he loves coaching, but it takes you away from your family a lot. So Chuck's going to do a little family time. He is a coach, though. So his wife is an incredible person. His family is awesome. I'll be excited to see 1 year from now, 2 years from now, if he doesn't get back into consulting or advising, because coaches just kind of have that in their body. But he could go and do whatever he wanted to make a lot of money. I'm happy for him. 7 minutes into hour 3 here, we have Cole Beasley joining us in 8 minutes. Hopefully that tech, I assume Cole Beasley will have respect for the show.
Yeah, his internet will be fine. We'll see about AJ.
It's a work day for the Buffalo Bills, right? I mean, they are currently working. They have a game this weekend. Congrats to the Bills for that. We'll see if they have any respect for the show and have good internet up there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
What is it? It's probably 45 inches of snow, which is interesting because Lamar Jackson played at Louisville, okay, has been at the Ravens now for numerous years. He said in an interview yesterday that he's never played in snow. He doesn't know what that is. That real? Was he trolling? And this weekend could be the first weekend he plays in snow. Is that something we should take into account whenever we're betting? I think it's something we should think about.
Sure.
Now, Lamar's played in cold-ass games, okay, and I think the cold affects you a lot more than the snow would unless it's really slick ball. But that is surprising to me, especially after, 3 years at Louisville or 4 years at Louisville, and then now at Baltimore, almost a decade of playing in two cities that do get cold as shit, and it does have snow. I mean, there's snow in Texas, I think, just the other day. That's surprising me. Should we think about it when we're betting that thing?
Greg Roman said he's not worried about it. He'd be much worried about it if it was sheets of rain. But, I mean, it's only supposed to be 40% chance with, up to an inch or two. It's not going to be
Yeah, but Buffalo, dude.
You never know.
Yeah,
Lake effect.
That thing could come out there. You're talking every car on there got the chains on the wheels.
Yeah.
Them folks up there.
Well, we know Erie.
Exactly. They are waiting for Frosty to come down. Numerous ones, just everywhere. Those sons of bitches love it up there.
I would think snow would benefit him.
Where'd Josh Allen play? Wyoming?
Yeah.
He loves it too.
Snow's over there.
What a perfect quarterback for Buffalo.
Gonna help the Ravens.
Cuts through the wind.
You think it's going to help the Ravens?
Because then they won't pass the ball as much.
Josh Allen's hands.
Well, the Bills, believe me, it benefits the Bills more than anything. But if the Ravens get away from the pass and they just, we're just going to stick to the run because it's snowing, it's definitely going to be beneficial for them.
It might help them help themselves.
Yes.
Because they kind of stay focused on that thing. Bills-Ravens is a massive game to look for this weekend. I think it is the one. I mean, Bucs-Saints has kind of creeped in there. But Ravens-Bills, Ravens getting 2 points. Bills obviously favored by 2 at home. Lamar Jackson playing football like Lamar Jackson can play football. Josh Allen playing football better than we ever thought Josh Allen could play football. This game's going to be awesome. It's 8:15 game. All right, let's go ahead and have a prime time matchup. Woo! I'm excited for these two to go at it. And Cole Beasley, a large part of it, he's an second-team All-Pro this year. Also a rapper formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. Big offseason news was he changed his number back to 11. Okay.
Yeah,
that was huge.
Yeah, and he made All-Pro.
Show.
We'll talk to him in about 5-10 minutes here. Let's get some phone calls, shall we? Let's get to some. Let's go to Austin in Cleveland. What's going on, Austin?
What?
Not much. How you doing, Pat?
Not too shabby, Austin. What do you want to talk about?
I've been a West Virginia fan since I've been about 6th grade when you were a freshman, and I wanted to get your take on what you think that program would be at if Rich Rod would have never left Michigan.
That's very interesting because I think that next year we would have been in real conversations for things. A lot of chips on the shoulder. You would have never had to probably wouldn't have went to the Big 12 if I had to guess. I would assume if he was in there, wouldn't have went to the Big 12. We would have maybe went to the Big 10 or the ACC. If we had another year of winning, I assume we would have been able to get in there. I don't know. It's always a lot of looking back and wishing type thing. I could understand though him asking for $50,000 for his assistant coaches and him, hey, we've done everything we can for you, and him just being like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can see how that would be I got a program up here that'll spend $50,000 on a coffee if it tastes right. If it's going to win a game, we will do that. What's that type?
Well, and it's tough to do that too, right? Because if you guys do win a national championship the year after, who's to say that he doesn't take the most high-profile job that's available after that?
We win that 13-9 game against Pitt. We win the national championship that year. What happens?
Yeah.
What happened? Because we would have been in. What happens that? I don't know.
Probably gone either way.
There's a lot of. Hey, AJ, did you hear when Rich Rod said that? Hey, by the way, welcome back. Great to have you.
Welcome back.
Wow.
Swingers.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he still can't.
Are you serious?
And he
still
still
doing this?
can't get it figured out.
Son of a bitch.
I don't know what Connor's been saying. Someone is doing something.
What I've been saying. Foxy, please zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get 'em.
no.
Get
Don't
'em.
do it.
Watch your drink.
No.
Hockey time.
That's right.
Did you get that on your slow speed internet?
You want to ruin my show? That's what I do to your fucking Buckeye Heroes box, pal. What's the deal?
You should try it right-handed. See if it's more powerful.
Did you hear Rich Rod talking about how he wanted $50,000 for his assistant coaches' salaries and it was turned down? Like how is that even happen? How is that something that was happening with where we were going? And now that I'm 33 in 2021, I think I finally fully understood why he decided to leave with the team that we had. Because I think he would have still got big jobs if we went. That's wild to think about, isn't it?
Especially to think $50,000 spread out over what? 15 coaches? Like how many people are getting a piece of that?
I have no idea. But think about like Ohio State. If Urban Meyer or Ryan Day would go and be like, hey, there's this coach who's about to get plucked. We get $50,000 for that one coach. Ohio State would be like, yep, excuse me. Sure. Let me just go ahead and throw that in the bank account. Like that's the difference. I would assume that's why you make that decision. Anyways, we have to pivot back to the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who was once a Dallas Cowboy, and now he's a Buffalo Bill, second team All-Pro, changed his number back to 11 this past offseason. Woo. A massive piece to the Buffalo Bills success story. Has a massive game this weekend in prime time, ladies and gentlemen. Buffalo Bills wide receiver Cole Beasley.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cole, I thank you for having good internet and respecting the show. I don't know where you're doing this internet or this interview from, but I appreciate you having respect for our show. Unlike the white that's next to you on the screen on the other side, AJ Hawk.
I don't know. Well, it's the Buffalo Bills internet, so they're doing a good job.
Where are you at? Are you in the locker room right now? Or are you in practice?
I'm actually in the indoor right now. We just finished practice, so this is the media room right here.
Is somebody taking BP on the other side of this thing? What the hell is going on over there, Cole?
There's all kinds of stuff. These guys are working, man.
I mean, Jesus. It really sounds like there's some stuff going on over there, Cole.
That's the jugs machine sounding like that.
Oh, getting that work. Hey, I like that. We like that. Okay, let's talk about the Sean McDermott culture that you guys have up there. Buffalo Bills organization has been very patient with it. Tyrod Taylor gets to the playoffs, says, hey, we appreciate what you've done. We're going to move a different direction. You draft Josh Allen. His first year, not so great, but they say patient with it. We talked to general manager Brandon Beane before the season. We said, hey, was there any thought of a different quarterback or anything like that? He said, no, we're going all in on Josh Allen. This culture that you guys have built up there, what have you noticed? Congrats on all the success in the All-Pro, but what is it about that building you think that is going to be sustained success for the people of Buffalo for some time to come?
That's really the biggest thing about this place, and what makes it so special is the people and the family environment that McDermott set when we got here. The first thing we did as new players when we got here, he gave us a chance to kind of get up at the front of the room, take pictures up of our family, and kind of talk about what's important to us. So, each guy could kind of get a connection with the new guys and just learn a little about everybody. I mean, he understands that when you create that bond and that relationship, you have people that you care about next to you, and it makes you want to play so much harder for them. That's huge. It's hard to find that in the
How is he able to balance, I guess, trying to not be a dictator, but then also letting you guys be individuals? Like, how is he able to hold you guys accountable? It's a tough balance that all coaches can't seem to find.
Staying consistent and discipline is something we talk about all the time. It's important to still be able to come to work and get things done, but also have fun at the same time. We're playing a game that if you're not having fun playing it, it's hard to be good at it, in my opinion. So, the whiteout room, we get our work done, but we have a good time all the time. I love spending time with the guys, and that love that you have for each other translates to the field.
Oh, yeah. You guys got some WD-40 over there? Jugs machine's getting a lot of work this year. That's good news. It's good news. The boys are back. Hey, you change your number to 11. You become second team All-Pro. What took so long? What are we doing? Why?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go.
I know, man. Well, the problem is other people vote for it. If I were voting, I would have made it a long time ago. I don't know. haven't had the numbers for any accolades like that. That's kind of more what it's about. I mean, there's guys that don't have the numbers as other guys, but we know who the good players are, but the population really doesn't, you know what I mean, unless they have those kind of gaudy stats a little bit. And that's something that I really lacked in my career because of the position I've been in and the type of offenses that I've been in. Just coming here and having opportunities and Dayball letting me do what I do well has been the biggest thing.
Well, Cole, we appreciate you. We know it's a work day. Good luck this weekend. Congrats on the All-Pro. We can't wait to watch you continue to dominate, pal.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Beasley.
Keep singing, baby. Keep singing.
I'll tell you what, one of the most just absolute, just distracting sounds I've ever heard in my entire history of conversations. Ever.
Were they shooting skeet in there? What the hell are they doing in there?
I feel like we probably could have had a pretty good conversation. I'm just, in the background, you go, it sounded like a guy had a bat and was just hitting a metal wall. What is going on? I like that they're getting a work in, but could we have moved the guy?
Yeah, to a press conference room.
What's that, Dix?
Breaking news. Pretty big breaking news.
Well, yeah, they need WD-40 on the fucking jugs machine in Buffalo.
The Rockets have traded James Harden to the Nets in exchange for Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan, Brooklyn's 2021 first-round pick.
Steve Nash and the Nets were just like, hey, listen, this guy's doing Zoom calls 10 minutes before our games are kicking off that he's not playing in strictly because he doesn't want to. Okay, let's go ahead and get him. Is James Harden out there? Is he playing? He looks like he's about 230, coach. Steve Nash like, fuck, I can get him into shape. You ever seen my Instagram commercials? I'm in pants, but we can get James Harden ready to go. So now we got James and Kevin Durant back together in Brooklyn. They got Kyrie Irving, which Stephen A. Smith was calling for him to retire because he doesn't like football, amongst other things. James Harden about to shave up the beard.
Oh, no.
What's that?
Oh, he got God. Oh, he got God. He got God.
We got to get to a goddamn break. Can't happen. Can't win with it. Everything I just said was wrong.
It would have been cool though if it was right.
It would have been cool, wouldn't it?
Diggs just got it darn Schefter.
Oh my
It was
God.
at Ultra Weed Hater.
He
got McCockiner.
What was it doing on my timeline?
Bro, McCockner's just jujuing on me. Oh, you got to get to a break, dude. Oh, damn. You take these next 4 minutes and really fucking look deep inside yourself.
Box.
This is an internet show.
I'm going to take a lap.
Oh,
More than that. Back on the other side with some real news. You stopped the conversation.
Yeah. You didn't check it. The screen name? Is that the real screen name?
Bro, you stopped the combo. Hand up.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboy hat on.
Yeah, firm.
Eyes big. There's a look from Diggs that comes where it's like, all right, here we go. And then we cut over. McCockner.
Oh, Cowboy's dead, man. Cowboy's dead.
Oh, wow. Man, some old white got at ESPN the other day. And here we are, just doing the same thing. Anyways, James Harden still looking to be traded. Kyrie Irving still potentially should retire.
Everyone in that tweet is going, Tone got God under it.
This is the Pat McAfee Show. We're going to regather ourselves. We'll be back on the other side with some more sports talk. Hockey's back.
Shattered his hip.
Let me just roll back to my corner.
Hey, pal. The question.
Busted my tailbone, boys.
The question. Yeah, you should keep your helmet
I'll
on.
keep it on.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on the team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around. I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow Airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around, he's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane. Lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. The McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on Cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good, and I think that happened.
Listeners and watchers of the Pat McAfee Show. On January 13th, 2021, around 2:20 p.m., I relayed information to Pat McAfee that was not correct. I, during the show, scroll the Twitter, and I look for breaking news. And I get excited when there's breaking news. And I normally do double check.
Let them know, Dix.
But in this case, on this day, January 13th, 2021, I was got.
Yeah.
By Weed Killer 69.
That's right.
He reported a trade as a fake Adrian Wojnarowski account.
Yeah, he did.
That James Harden had been traded to the New York Brooklyn Nets.
That's right.
That was a fake report.
Oh, dang.
Here at this show, we do pride ourselves on getting things correct.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially shit like this in the basketball world.
And reporting the facts, not just being first.
Yeah.
Because as a reporter, it's more important to be true than to be first. I forgot that today.
Yeah.
I vow to you that I will never forget that again.
Okay.
I will double check. There wasn't even a check mark next to this account.
Not even close.
Not even a 7 emoji.
Not even a lot of retweets either.
No.
Wasn't even really his best one.
No, not at all.
We talked during the break and feel like it's been decided that the COVID cowboy is probably going to have to hang up his Spurs today.
Really? No, Tony.
He's going to have to put his hat on the wall.
Oh, no.
Tony.
Just be normal piece of shit digs for the rest of 2021.
All right. Hey, thank you. Ship there.
I apologize, and I hope we can get past this moving into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Way to own that.
Good job, Tony.
Hey, way to go. I mean,
Thank
you
you,
definitely misled people, misguided people, got. But the accountability is something that nobody else would do except for you, Dave.
That's right.
What a hero, bro.
Good job.
And you have changed your hat. That's all you did was just change your hat?
Well, the cowboy's dead.
Okay.
You don't deserve that cowboy hat.
Oh,
shit.
He's right. I wish I could argue.
Cowboy hat did lead to the Steelers being one and done. You getting got on the internet is awesome, though. I mean, that's one of the real thrills of the internet.
It really is.
Great moment.
It's like that's a moment on the internet that we all share whenever somebody gets got, and it's like, gotcha.
Did you see how excited he was when he thought he had it?
Oh, man.
By the way, you can.
I was waiting to pitch it back to you. Thought you were going to break out the bat.
Is AJ still on? AJ, did you hear that apology? And do you believe it? And are you sold on it? And do you forgive him?
I watched the whole thing uncomfortably. It felt like a Garth Brooks documentary.
I'm Chris Gaines now.
That's
Tone Gaines.
Chris Gaines had a hell of a run. Almost won a Grammy, I think. I don't even know where to go from there. There's a couple things. Andre Johnson. Do you see this? Andre Johnson came out and said, like, hey, the Texans stink with Easter being there. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet Andre Johnson. I had a chance to be teammates with him. This is not like Andre Johnson's like kind of way of doing things. Like Andre Johnson's not doing this just to get some shine or get talked about today by us and everybody. This feels like something that, could probably swing the hammer a little bit harder for old Desean Watson, especially with everybody else. DJ Reader, DeAndre Hopkins, Arian Foster. Everybody's been like, that place stinks, dude. So this is a wild time to be a Texans fan, I'd assume. You're learning a lot about your franchise that you didn't previously know.
Yeah, and doesn't Andre Johnson technically have some kind of consulting role with the Texans right now too?
I would assume he potentially got pushed out maybe whenever Easter became. Maybe he's not getting listened to or something like that. I don't. But you're right. He does have some association with the Texans.
The fact that it's Andre Johnson doing this, and you go back, and his last real tweet was 2 years ago or something. It's all ad stuff. It's not even him. And then all of a sudden he feels like, hey, I need to come out and I want to say this. That's the biggest news about it.
Do you think his people said, do you want to do it on a show? Do you want to do an interview? What do you want?
I think he just decided to do it. I think he was at home and did it himself.
He's like, I'm sick of it.
That's what it seems like when you have only promotional tweets for the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden this pops up. I I doubt he would run this by somebody.
That's very interesting to me because he was awesome and everybody respects him, I think, in the NFL. He's one of those guys that when he says something, everybody's like, all right, here we go, let's ride with it. The Texans are going to have to clean up aisles 1 through 10 for a long time. Mm-hmm. Free agency is probably going to be tough for them for a while, if I had to guess. Just like in Jacksonville, 25% of all the complaints that the NFLPA heard from was from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that piece of information got out, and then people were wondering why they weren't spending money or getting anybody. It's like, well, the agents nobody wants to fucking go there because of that. Yep. Now with a new, obviously, a whole new organization, basically, with new GM and head coach, I assume that'll change, but the Texans are going to have to answer some questions for a long time, I'd assume. And if they do end up trading Desean Watson, and he goes to Miami in exchange for Tua, I think that's the only positive outcome for Tua and the Dolphins, too. Now that there's a potential bullshit, alleged anonymous source conversation happening about Tua stinking, basically, in the rest of the locker room, that's a wild time to be alive as well down there. Quarterback situations are very wild right now.
Yeah, I'd say that. And you might, we may be seeing the very beginnings of something like that happening, the Deshaun Tua situation, just because, when you look around, what would be the best case scenario for both these guys? Well, Tua seems to be, there's a little bit of murmurs and anonymous sources, which is garbage sometimes, but still, I still have to take something into it. I don't think whoever reported it just made it up. But yeah, Deshaun, it seems like I don't know how you fix what's going on right now in Houston. So good luck whoever becomes the head coach there. It's going to be fun.
Casario might be like, well, since the way this whole thing is turned out, if I'm reading Twitter right, unlike Tone Diggs from the Pat McAfee. If I'm reading Twitter right, sure sounds like it's going to be tough for us to get a franchise quarterback in here. So if they're just going to give us Tua, I mean, Tua doesn't have any other option, right? He has to come here. Yeah, let's do that until this kind of all settles down. Let's do that. It's still wild to me to think that you're going to trade one of the best players in the NFL, though. That is a tough decision that I guess, like, that's what you get paid the big money to do, but that's a big-time move. No J.J. Watt, no Desean Watson next year. Houston Texans would be a much different organization.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems, of all the jobs available, that seems like one with the biggest uphill battle from the beginning.
A lot of conversations in the studio today about which head coaching job would be the best. That Chargers one seems to be the spot. Now, granted, Jacksonville is also good. No state tax. You got an owner who's going to have his hands on everything. Listen, take him through the game plan, but I think he will provide whatever you need to potentially win. I think he will shell out money and everything like that. So with Trevor Lawrence on deck, that's a good spot as well. Philadelphia, not a great looking spot. I don't know if you want to go in there and clean that whole thing up. Houston, not that fantastic. But you go to the Chargers organization, you're like, okay, got a quarterback, got good defense. The Spanos family, I don't know how all in they are, but this team could be absolutely legendary out here if somebody can make it right. That has to be an appealing job, I would assume, for somebody. Who's going to get that gig, I wonder?
I mean, I think, don't you think the Chargers know, too? Like, hey, this is one of the better jobs available this year with the roster we have. You're in L.A. Like, yeah, things seem to be set up nice if you want to come in and be that head coach. So they know. So I don't know. I wonder, like, it would be hard if you're trying to hire the new head coach because you're just waiting for those dominoes to start to fall and guys start getting hired, and you don't want the guy that you are targeting to get hired.
Do you know who General George Patton is that just got hired by the Broncos?
I do not know him personally, no.
I don't know any of these motherfuckers.
Nope.
I don't know anybody that's getting these GM jobs. I don't know any of these dudes. I don't have a clue who anybody.
Why would you know, like the inner workings of front offices around the league? You know the GM sometimes, but that's about it.
It's breaking news, though, whenever GMs get hired, and it's always like I read it and I go, oh,
it's a big job. I mean, you're the mastermind behind a couple $billion franchise.
It's crazy though that they kind of just hand those jobs out to some bums sometimes.
Even some of the coaches. I just heard of Artie Smith like last week, and he's one of the front runners.
Well, see, that is on you.
You know,
that is on you. Arthur Smith's name has been cooking all year because of what Tannehill's been able to do.
Well, I've had my eyes on Dan Campbell. That's on me. I wasn't expecting Smith to get a head coaching job.
Did you play alongside Dan Campbell, the linebacker, fullback, whatever, special teamer? He got an interim head coaching gig down there in Miami. First day on the job, had everybody do Oklahoma drills. Then he won a couple games. Now he's the assistant head coach for Sean Payton. And he is going to, because of their connection to the Cowboys whenever he played there, Sean Payton was an assistant coach there or something like that. That's a guy who's going to probably get a head coaching gig at some point. And I'll tell you what, I'm not sure his players are going to love playing for that guy.
I don't know. You don't think Oklahoma drills at 9 o'clock in the morning aren't going to go over well?
I mean, Sean Payton's probably pretty well liked by his players, so maybe he learned some things. But whenever the media was hyping him up, whenever he was doing that, I do remember a lot of people going like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's every player, it felt like. But with a guy like that, though, if you know he's not doing it just to do it and you understand what he's trying to do and the culture he's trying to build, then eventually that can become an awesome place. It can become a great thing. Dan Campbell played. He doesn't want to just kill his guys all day long.
That's literally what he did, though. I think that was like
toughen them up, man. They weren't tough enough.
Oh, yeah. Toughen them up. That's the way to do it.
Worked for the Steelers. Remember, they went full pads like late in the year to get back on track.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Picked up a third and one.
I forgot about that. Yeah. They did, and then they ran the same exact play 2 quarters later, and it did not get it.
Next drive.
How about the Steelers?
2 minutes.
It was the next drive.
How about Chase Claypool and everybody still? They don't care. Like, they're not backing off talking about the Browns. What do you say? They're going to get slapped next week?
Yeah, but there was an entire lead up there where I guess Chase did an entire film study with his followers there, and he talked about all the things he did wrong and how he, you know what I mean? It was like that was the tail end of that whole thing. Because my problem with looking at, and we haven't talked about it, by the way, on this show. I mean, we mentioned it to Jarvis kind of in a nonchalant way, but we haven't talked about that strictly because when I watched the video, the thing I was upset about was how he delivered the line. Like, I wish he would have, the way he kind of like, they're going to get smacked next week. It was kind of like didn't deliver it with like any, like, you know, like moxie. Like there was no delivery. And so that was like kind of, but then whenever you see the entire thing, it is, granted, he said it. Now let's not get crazy. But the actual video itself is just kind of like, I don't know if it's that big of a storyline really.
It's in the water, AJ. They can't help themselves. It's once you get into that city and you start drinking the water, it's just something that happens.
Ooh. Oh, you start shit talking the Browns?
Yeah. Talking about the Juju Smith seltzer.
Yeah, so
he's getting out of town.
He's going. By the way, Juju came out and said he wants to play in a major market to build his brand. Allegedly, these are leaks coming. He would like to go to a major market to build his brand. Everybody's saying, well, the Jets because he knows Darnold. But I would assume he wouldn't mind getting back to Los Angeles as well. I don't know how much cap space there is. Who knows on the Juju watch? But I do know TikTok will be waiting with bated breath.
Oh yeah, there's a few TikTok houses that want to actually bring him in. So I don't even know if he's looking at NFL teams.
The TikTok houses might be going to the Rams and say, hey, we'll actually pay for this.
Yes.
We'll split this 50-50.
Down the middle.
Go ahead and do this thing. You know what I mean, AJ?
Does anyone want Juju back in Pittsburgh?
I would go out on a limb and say the fans do not.
There are a huge segment of younger fans that aren't real Steelers fans. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Foxy.
That are very, very soft human beings that do want him back. Yeah,
Foxy would be a part of that.
Yeah,
Foxy would be a part of that.
Let Juju dance, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Foxy would be a part of that. Jaguars are waiting on decision from Urban Meyer. Allegedly, the Chargers are also interested in Urban Meyer. Another situation we just talked about being a great one. Quarterback established, already going to be a baller for however many years he wants to be. Defense is good. New stadium. You're in Los Angeles. Urban Meyer's allegedly talking to the Chargers as well about their position. He's already been on Shad Khan's boat a couple of times down there in Jacksonville, and they are allegedly just waiting on his decision here. Urban Meyer's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. Urban Meyer's doing exactly what he did with college football for those years whenever he left and then came back, and then now he's doing it to the NFL, and he'll be able to do this forever if he wants, by the way.
He's in a great spot. Go out there on Fox, be on the pregame show for a couple of years, and every time an opening comes available, hey, your name is thrown out there, and your price continues to go up and up. So, yeah, it's a pretty nice little coaching situation. Like John Gruden was in that role a little bit, I guess you could say. Cowher's been there forever. He just won't go back.
Yeah, you got to earn that, by the way. I'm not saying that you kind of get handed that. He had a lot of success in a lot of places. But, yeah, you get out of coaching because of a couple of health issues, go on TV, talk shit on Pat McAfee, go back to your show. Yep. Has less ratings than the show that he was on, and then just kind of break down football footage, which is awesome, by the way. Watching him talk about games and things, I do see some clips of that show. It is awesome listening to him talk. He's had a lot of success. I'll be intrigued to see what he does. Will it work? And you know him, and you have yet to give us a real answer. You think Urban Meyer will work in the NFL? Yeah.
I think he could definitely work in the NFL, but I only think he's going to go if he gets everything like that he wants. If he feels like he can control the roster a little bit, he can bring in all the people he wants to bring in. Like that. That's probably what they're trying to work out now.
Shad's out on his boat. He's like that. Have you earned enough money to have a boat like this? Why do you want to make every fucking decision with my company?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be tough to do. If you're an owner, that would be tough to do.
But like Shad Khan's an owner that made his money out. He bootstrapped it and built his whole business up, and then he bought a team. So don't you think they would be like, hey, I'm going to hire the best I can, and I'm going to let the experts do their thing?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
You would think.
Yeah.
It's also fun picking, guys.
Yeah.
It's not
fantasy
bad.
football's a good time.
Yeah, you got your own team.
Real life.
Like, hey, we're going to put a couple pools in here, by the way, if I can turn this place up.
I want that guy.
Take the team over to London a couple times a year. Yeah, we'll do whatever we want. Hop on a plane. Go ahead, boys. It'd be tough not to do that, wouldn't it? If you had your own fantasy football team, was real life?
Yeah, I guess it would be tough. And it's your own money, though, that you realize when you're losing games every year.
You're still making money, though.
Yeah, don't matter.
Cincinnati Bengals are making money.
Make a lot more if you win, though.
A lot more. And I think that is something that isn't discussed enough with these goddamn owners. Hey, listen, if your team didn't suck, you'd make even more money. Hey, I know Brown family over there in Cincy, you guys love that check that comes in for doing next to nothing, not having a lot of success and everything like that. Just imagine what those checks could be. If you guys, especially now that you have a quarterback, maybe,
triple them.
Go ahead and put them in there. Let's go ahead and make some real money here, huh? I know you guys are wealthy and all that, generational wealth, and your kids are going to be taken care of forever, and your grandkids are going to be taken care of forever. And the city of Cincinnati is a diehard football fan base, but you don't really want to give them a lot of success. Why not just give them success, be some heroes, and also make, guess what, more money for your grandkids? There we go. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, well, the Brown family, their grandkids, they're all involved. So, yeah, they want to do it, continue to set up the next generation.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I love that. I won't say anything. The Colts have obviously invested a lot of money in coaching staff and scouting department and everything like that. When A.J. Foyt, former race car driver, became a scout, I laughed very hard.
That really happened?
Yeah, he came out. He was part of the family business there for like one off season, I think, or one season. It was awesome.
Who did he scout?
Yeah, anyone good come in?
Yeah. He married Ursay's middle daughter, I believe, and then he's son of A.J. Foyt, the legendary IndyCar driver. A.J. Foyt, also a race car driver. Cool dude, by the way. Very, very cool dude. I guess whenever they got married, I don't know if he was asked to do it or if he had an interest in doing it or whatever, but him coming out on a sideline with a thing, and I had known him previously to him becoming this from, potential good times around town. It was always awesome. AJ, we fucking winning because of your brain today or what? It was always, he was a super cool guy. They have shifted, by the way, what they do for the business. They still work with the business. But I could see if you were a Bengal and the team wasn't investing in trying to get the best people, and you saw the family members just start coming around taking notes and start dragging people, you'd be like, all right, get me the fuck out of here, pal.
If anybody knows speed, it was that guy AJ.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a NASCAR driver.
I would, he could probably judge some things that you wouldn't show up in a practice field, he's good. He was a good time. He was a good dude, good time, everything like that. So I don't know if they have him scouting like that now, but him out of practice was awesome. It was always awesome. Let's go to Mike in Los Angeles. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, just hanging out, dude. How's the traffic over there? Anybody out on the roads in Los Angeles, or are you guys kind of all shut down right now?
You know what? I've been shut down for the last 14 days. I've had COVID. Today's my last day of quarantine, boys.
Hey, congrats. Congrats.
You did it.
Now watch yourself, because I do believe one of the side effects that is not talked about is you will get got on the internet.
So foggy brain.
You know what?
Happens to some people only.
Tone, I texted a few of my boys when I heard the news, and I appreciate the apology. It really does mean a lot. But you really duped me today, man. You really duped me today.
Yeah, you don't know how many people you fucked over.
Yeah. I feel today feels like the day that I realized I couldn't help everyone in fantasy football anymore. Kind of feels like that type of sadness.
All right.
Tone,
you're a hero, dude.
Mike, what do you? You're a real hero,
We
dude.
appreciate it. Listen, boys, I just want to talk about the future. The off season's coming up. This weekend, I know we have a few football games going on, but we have a big year in the UFC, and it seems like your relationship with Ariel has really, grown on the internet. And I'm just wondering if you guys have any plans to get together with the guy. I know he's kind of a tool. I know he's kind of a stooge.
Kind of.
But I'm just thinking if you guys have any plans of getting together, maybe linking up on a few Saturdays and talking about the game or talking about the fights, talking about what's going to be going on, maybe during the off season. I know Ariel's got a lot of time on his hands. Doing a lot of
He does. ESPN News only has a certain amount.
Maybe he wants to get some spotlight on your show and talk about the fights that are going on.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. You don't want me talking about fights, dude. I don't know. I'll watch them, but I don't know what the hell's going on out there.
I don't know. We might need to get you evaluating boxers going forward now due to the Oculus.
Oh, that's true.
AJ.
You know fighting.
Firsthand.
Hey, the guy that knocked me out, by the way, 2 nights ago, you know what I did last night, by the way?
Yeah.
As soon as I got home, fucking strapped in. Hey, bud, I've been thinking about you all day. It was awesome. My wife's back there. How's it going? I'm not. He won't fucking go down. He won't go down. Fucking go down. In between rounds, I was the first time in a long time where I was full, and the Oculus knew it. But I played much more defensive.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't
Counter fury. Rope-a-dope.
Yeah, a little bit more defensive. My counter punch is good with my left hand. Right hand counter is not there yet. You know what I mean? I need to figure that out. I am going back through the Oculus as a southpaw, though.
Okay.
So
learn both ways.
Mostly because whenever you get very tired in these, I've learned switching. It helps a lot for the arm. It helps the arm. So there was a couple times when I was going through the highest level is called outclass, and it actually says unrealistic and unfair is what it says. Okay, so that's the highest one. I steamroll through the competition in the lowest 4 or whatever. Then I get to the outclassed one, and I'm doing all my same moves, and these dudes are just eating it, and then they're bringing things back, and all of a sudden your arms get very tired at that point, even though you're only holding Oculus. I got a lot of people tweeting me that I should hold weights in my fucking hands. It's like, the Oculus controller is enough. So I've been switching mid-fights, though, to go southpaw to rest my muscles or whatever.
Confusing.
Yeah, but I couldn't land. Anytime I'd hit him, it was like I was punching in a dream. You know what I mean? It was really nothing. So now I'm going back up and through the thing as a southpaw, so that when I get winded in future Oculus fights, by the way, same fighters coming from the other side.
That's right.
Does anybody do that in actual boxing?
Oh, yeah. I think so, yeah.
That should be a move.
Very, very common to switch stances.
Isn't that Gaethje guy? Can't the Gaethje guy do that, man, Surrey?
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje?
MMA. Remember, MMA guys do. They go back and forth.
But boxers, do boxers do it?
Rocky did.
He had to for the second fight.
Second fight with Apollo. Yep.
And dude's got a fucking statue. So,
Apollo didn't know fucking hit him.
More often in MMA, to AJ's point, you switch stances, especially if your lead leg is taking some damage. You'll switch stances just to protect your legs.
But in boxing, does it happen in boxing? Because I'm starting to feel pretty good about my my boxing southpaws.
Not as much.
By the way, got to hold the phone, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to hold the phone, bro. That's what you
Bring it right back.
So you don't even boom, bang, pow, pow, jab, cross, bitch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sleep. Is it a good workout for you?
Oh yeah, I actually have some friends who are in great shape that are saying they are dying playing this game.
Wow.
By the way, it's only like, I don't know, the 3-minute rounds. There's a 5-round fight that you get to at the end. There's 4-round fight. I've never made it to the 5th round. I've knocked everybody out before then, obviously. But whenever you're 10, 11 minutes into that fight, I mean, your whole body is it is very tired. It's a very quick workout. And I feel like I am getting good. I don't want to get punched in the real face, but Oculus boxing is something I will continue to do, I think.
I'm getting closer and closer to getting it, man.
Well, I don't care.
Seriously.
I mean, your internet's not going to be able to handle it anyway.
Oh, my
Exactly.
God. Oh, your internet, by the way. Listen, with that ping pong game, I played somebody last night. Did not have a good connection.
Oh, glitching the whole
They
time.
would throw that ball up. It would disappear. You would see their hand swing. And then all of a sudden, the ball's halfway on my side already, and I got to get it back.
Magic, man.
It was tough. They had AJ's internet or whatever.
Yeah, he can't handle that.
Huh?
It's your internet, probably.
No.
How do I play with 10 other people a night and it's not a problem? That's the same question we ask you with this show. We interview, 15 to 20 people a week, and it seems like nobody else other than you and Rich Rodriguez have problems. What is the deal, AJ?
It's good. I'm in good company. I'll take it.
He's going to turn ULM around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How did he not get the Marshall job? Marshall fired Doc Holliday for whatever I thought they
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought they had success last year. For whatever reason, they fired him. Doc Holliday was once a coach at West Virginia and at Florida, recruiting coordinator, gets guys in there. I think they won a lot of games this past season. They had a freshman quarterback who seemed to be good, probably on the up and ups. They fire him. Rich Rodriguez is sitting there in West Virginia. It's like, I don't know if he would go, by the way. Maybe he wouldn't go.
Isn't he the OC at Louisiana Monroe?
Yeah.
Okay. And the head coach is Terry Bowden?
Yeah, friend of his.
Man, they may put up 800 points a game.
Yeah, and his kid, Rhett, is going to be the quarterback. And Rhett knows the offense inside and out. It's literally been learning it since he was like 8 years old. So, I mean, that team could be. I don't know what the over-under is, but we need to hammer the over.
Yeah. Rhett Rodriguez sounds like the guy.
Marshall was 7-3 this year.
What's that? What'd you say?
Marshall was 7-3 this year.
Fired Doc. This is like the Lions firing fucking Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, you're good, but we want to be better. Let's go to Hayden and Hershey. What's going on, Hayden? Nope, actually, Luke in Pennsylvania. What's going on, Luke? Thing just jumped.
See you, Hayden.
Luke.
I'm your father.
Luke. That stinks. I heard some noise too. So
Yeah, I know. He's there somewhere.
Did he just ice up? Did he freeze up?
Oh, he might have.
Luke, I want to let you know, although there is probably a lot of people listening and watching, and they shouldn't be, we agree. Don't even, you're just talking to us. Okay, this isn't that big. Just go ahead and let it out, Luke. Go ahead and just go ahead and pull the trigger. Relax. Don't be scared. Let it fly, pal. You know what I mean? Let it fly. All right, Luke.
Come on, Luke.
All right, see you later.
Might
Luke.
have bad connection.
Can't hang up on Luke. We are stuck with Luke.
All right.
This thing has
Lukey,
broken over here.
Come through, Luke.
Luke, we need you, bub, because I cannot hang up on you. This thing has completely
We can manual override in the other room,
froze
right?
over
Mitt
here.
can.
Mitt, need you to hang up on Luke. Mitt, let's go to Hayden and Hershey. Hayden and Hershey, what's going on? Mitt.
Hey, Pat. How you doing, man?
Not too shabby, Hayden. Great work back there, Mitt, by the way.
Baby, Mitt.
What do you want to talk about, Hayden?
Hey, I'm a cybersecurity student at Penn State, and I just got denied for a DraftKings internship, which stinks. But, I applied at FanDuel and the Indianapolis Colts. I'm an Indy native. I sent my resume over to Phil as well. And you being someone who brought themselves up in the sports entertainment world, I was wondering if you had any advice for college students trying to get onto the scene.
Great question, Hayden. Appreciate that.
Get rid of him, Mitt.
Hang up, Mitt.
Got him.
Good job, Mitt.
Hayden, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
Oh, Mitt, one job.
Get
one
rid of
job,
him,
Mitt.
Mitt, hit the X.
Man, hang up on the fucking phone, dude.
I think he hacked the phone.
This guy hacked the goddamn phone.
Jeez, cybersecurity.
We hung up on him.
There it is.
He hung up.
Yeah, he probably did. He said, I've done enough. Was he cybersecurity guy? What does that even mean?
Look out.
What would we hire him for?
Working for Simply Safe.
Well, we'd hire him to, make sure our streams stay up and maybe, make sure nobody else like AJ's stream comes into ours.
Is that guy coding? Is he a coder?
Sounds like
Sounds
it.
right, yeah.
Black hat.
It's the future.
You can intern as a... What's that?
He was calling you to deliver like a virus. That's all you need to do.
No.
If you picked up,
My computer did.
Trojan horse.
By the way, my computer did.
Yeah.
Before the show was completely dead.
He's already got to mine. I'm telling you, something's going on.
Fucking Hayden and Hershey went to Penn State too. Probably hates Ohio State.
Yeah.
You being an Ohio State legend, founding first target. The not getting to work at DraftKings as an intern, and then applying for FanDuel as a coder. If you're a coder, I don't think you're ever an intern. You're pretty much in charge, right? If you're the one coding things.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah,
You're in it.
The coders are normally the ones.
You got to learn the ropes first, though, right?
Yeah.
The coders.
Yeah.
Who do they learn from? The actual coders?
Yeah, they probably got the same kind of code, right?
Yeah, but like whenever I watch these documentaries or these things about these people that hack into things, they're like Hayden and Hershey just sitting in their house, just
prodigies.
Like, oh, I'm smarter than you. Let me go ahead.
Black hat.
ERTYUKLGHFDA. Your life is over.
Your system's down.
I don't know how any of that works.
System failure.
Hey, Hayden, good thing for you, bud, is there's going to be a lot of money in the world that you're getting into forever. So to get your foot in the door, whoever lets you in, man, just go in there and work hard, dude. Just go in there and put your nose down and just go to work, pal. Ain't that right, AJ?
Yeah, that's right. I'm wanting to go back to the Cole Beasley conversation quickly with the jugs machine going off the whole time, and then you just standing up, catching balls behind your. Like I was trying not to look at your side of the screen, and I was trying to study Cole's face and see if he could see you and get distracted by
Never
you
looked once.
Just farting around the studio catching footballs the whole time he's trying to give you legit answers.
Well, we were trying to make the jugs machine sound real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because maybe the jugs machine was in our studio.
Exactly.
Now, granted, Connor was throwing it when the jugs machine wasn't shooting.
No.
So, like, there was a time, like, you know, we had set that up when Cole goes to full screen, ball gets tossed off desk to Connor. We're all on the same page here. Connor, then as soon as we go to a third, I'm looking at Cole, and a ball is flying at me. I'm like, whoa, the jugs machine didn't go out. It will. And by the way, as I caught it, I was like, all right, we're a little bit off. Let me go ahead and throw it back. Yet again, by the way, we did not wait for that jugs machine.
No.
We had our own jugs machine that was silent.
It's funny. I didn't even know that we were supposed to wait for the jugs machine to go off on there.
Yeah, first time you threw the ball without him even looking.
Yeah, because I was waiting for the jugs machine.
I thought you had to be ready at all times. That's the drill, right? Gee, I mean, you turned around.
Now, is that this? That was disrespectful to the show, just like your internet is. I mean, so Cole, kind of disrespectful. Not Cole, by the way. It's not him making that decision to sit down right next to the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah. But
you would think they have like another room they could take people in so that, you know, you're not.
Josh called us from the indoor facility.
He did. Yeah. But his at least was not sitting right on top of a jug. Yeah.
Have you ever heard a jugs machine be that loud? I've never heard that much noise coming out of a jugs machine.
No, it sounded like a jugs machine. From the first one, I figured, like, oh, yeah. And then he said, we just got off the field from practice, so, yeah, my guys are catching balls.
You don't think that was too metally for a jugs machine? Oh, you guys don't use Tordo. You probably don't use WD-40 over there in Green Bay either. Jesus Christ.
I don't know what kind of fancy jugs machines you are using that don't make any noise, but, yeah, that was...
No, they always make noises, but that sounded literally like somebody was banging metal like it was a steel mill right behind the right on the microphone, basically.
Maybe they probably have it turned up a lot. It's throwing balls a lot harder than the ones you're used to.
Nah.
Josh does have a lot of velocity.
Does.
I agree. By the way, you saw those hands. It was nice to have them back.
No drops.
None. I had one in my career. But I joked the guy and got the punt off. But it didn't count because we had guys down the field, so it had to come back. In the next punt, I almost broke my leg from Brian Brahman, one of the best special teams players of all time.
What a prick.
He is a very mean guy.
Yeah, I bet.
Freak athlete, though. Very handsome.
Respectfully.
Pretty funny as well. But mean guy.
Prick.
All right, this show stinks, and it's almost over. Chris Mad Dog Russo will be much better than us. We promise you that. Wednesday, January 13th, 2021, saw Rich Rodriguez, Barry Sanders, Cole Beasley, the Buffalo Bills jugs machine, bad internet from AJ Hawk, and I would assume the show after this one's going to be much better than ours. We'll be back manana with a monster show. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. You got about 6 minutes until a legend speaks. Why? I thought I was going to get the beat drop. We missed it by 5 seconds there. We did the serious people were waiting. We did. We waited. We missed it by 5 seconds here. What? No, Diggs. Diggs just got that look in his eye.
Oh, what do you got, Diggs?
Just got that look in his eye.
There is a check mark.
Okay.
Juju has responded. and said, "Sources tell me this is completely 100% false." LOL.
Okay.
Nice.
So Juju, the alleged source about him wanting to play for a major market is not accurate in Juju's opinion, which is about Juju. So let's go ahead and take it for, because people thought that was potentially a shot at Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh fans, massive, by the way. Massive fan base in Pittsburgh. Does the major market help if you're fan? Oh, he really did. Sources tell me this is completely false. LOL.
Huh.
Well, cleared it up.
Well,
That's his actual, yeah.
That's why you said allegedly.
What we should have done, though, by the way, is potentially.
Yeah. Oh, let him know.
Because maybe he would have scored our, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Roll this thing. Should have done it.
I'm shocked at the amount of people that don't realize Pittsburgh isn't a large market. A lot of people seem to think just because they get a couple national games and they're consistently competitive that they're a large market.
Pittsburgh's small, yeah.
Yeah, very small market.
When it comes to city size.
I would have guessed it was a large market, too. Just
No.
because the fan base travels
Fan
so
base
well.
is huge.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with like Green Bay Packers fan base. Huge.
But
small
small
market.
market,
The games that are played just regionally or just on the Pittsburgh area is nowhere near as big as like if you play the Jets and Giants, the amount of humans that could be watching that game at 1:00 is much larger than whenever you play other places because the amount of humans that live in the area. But Pittsburgh's fan base is huge. Probably, I mean, what, top 3 most loyal, I'd assume? They're in the conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Packers, Steelers,
Bears, yeah.
Patriots at this point.
Bears, no.
Yeah. Top 2 city in the world.
Bills.
That
wasn't the question.
That has nothing to do with the fan base. Like,
That's people involved.
So
and
you
they're
think-
all Bears fans.
so what I'm talking about is like whenever an away game happens,
Yeah.
and you see the
Filled
stands.
up with Bears fans, yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a real
Cubs
thing?
fans? Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes, yeah.
This year,
Yeah, actually, this year would have been the biggest year to do it because we
there's
couldn't
nobody
go in
there.
ours.
But let's say there was fans this year. You think away games, like Bears at Saints, this
Well,
playoff game.
You could even say Packers. A lot of Bears fans in Lambeau.
See, but Packers make a lot of stadiums their stadium whenever it's away. That's why, like, the loyal fan base, big fan. Steelers fans, a lot of Steelers fans turn away stadiums into home stadiums. Do the Bears do that?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They need to stop because the way that shit's operating, they need to let them know that we ain't behind this that much.
It's a rebuild year, baby.
The Packers are. I assume it felt like that when you guys had away games. There was a lot of Packers fans always in the stands, right?
Always. I was shocked. Like my first couple of years, I'm like, man, do the Packers just have fans everywhere? Like, do they travel to every single game we play? Like, yeah. There's not only fans that obviously live in the cities that you're playing in, but they travel, man. Especially like, what was it, last year, 2 years ago? They go out to L.A.
Yeah,
and the Packers fans take over the stadium because, like, yeah, we're going to get out of Green Bay. It was November or December, whenever it was. Yeah, let's go to L.A., take a nice little mini vacation and watch our team.
Bills fans are another one because in Pittsburgh last year, whenever we went to that game,
they travel very well.
Pittsburgh, by the way, is a very loyal fan base. Like, hey, we live and die without this team. Buffalo was probably 20% of that stadium.
Yeah, a lot of people in
It
there.
was awesome to kind of hear
It was
that.
the first time I've ever been in that stadium, and you could actually tell which side was the visitor side.
Yeah, there isn't in the NFL.
No, like behind. It was behind the visitors bench where all the.
Oh, got it.
Their family was probably.
The family sections are always so interesting, you know. It gets you like
Blocked off.
You get up
Guys signing up for tickets, telling the poor ticket lady, hey, I need 4 tickets here, and then like make sure there's like 3 or 4 sections over. I need 2 tickets, and then I need 1 ticket up here, and they all need to be at least 600 yards away from each other.
Can you do that? Thank you.
And then poor people having to put the tickets together like, yep, only have 52 more to go.
The Colts did not have that at away games. It's kind of a bummer. There's actually a couple home games that turned into felt like a little bit of away games. But the Colts fans at home, they show up, show out, you know, very loyal. But those fan bases that travel like that, it's just the Raiders. I think the Raiders are probably a team that does that. Cowboys, I'd assume.
Yeah.
This thing about the Steelers fans is you see them because the towels. You know what I mean? You see them. They're gonna play. I feel like it's almost like a bird call too by somebody like. And then all of a sudden you start seeing chopper style, chop, chopper style.
Well, and like the Pittsburgh fans, they travel very well, but they're, you know, people from Pittsburgh take pride in being from Pittsburgh, so they're loud, they're great fans. Like it's impressive watching how the Pittsburgh fans. I think they stick with them no matter what, even though they haven't really had any issues. I mean, this year is a down year, I guess, for them when you get beat in the first round of the playoffs. But hey, there's a lot of teams that would love to to have that level of that would be like a bad year for them.
I agree. And sometimes fans can get spoiled, but expectations are expectations for a reason. So it's kind of a difficult kind of juggle there. Tomlin has come out and said that there will be changes. Then Kevin Colbert. Kevin Colbert. Very nice man. I've met him. He's been a Steelers GM for what seems to be 50 years at this point. Always constant. Colbert, Tomlin. That's just what we're going to do. This is how it goes. It is alleged now that Colbert's potentially going to go to the Detroit Lions, which would be wild. Tomlin said there's going to be changes. There's also other openings happening. The New York Jets have just released a statement that they have concluded their second Zoom call with Robert Saleh. Wow. New York Jets tweet out, we have completed our second interview with Robert Saleh for a head coaching vacancy. There is more to be seen here with a picture of him with his name. 2 Zoom calls done between Joe Douglas, the New York Jets, and Robert Saleh. Is that a place you would want to go, AJ?
I think so, just because, they haven't been good lately, but they definitely can. And if you do win in New York, it sets up a lot of things in your life.
Oh, you're talking about being in a big market for the brand.
Yeah, I mean, look at Mangold stayed there. Mangold's in New Jersey. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Nick Mangold. Hey, happy birthday, Nick Mangold. Love the sauce, pal. Love the sauce.
Thank you, Mangold.
I mean, has anybody been kicked in the entrepreneurial sack more than Nick Mangold, who decided to launch something that revolves around gatherings right before, immediately as the banning of gatherings took place for a year at this point? Hard to be a startup, hard to be a new business, hard to be a barbecue sauce when you're not allowed to have a goddamn barbecue. But his barbecue sauce is so good that it will survive this moment.
Yep.
And it'll go on to be the most highly sought after barbecue sauce on planet Earth. And happy birthday to Nick Mangold. But he did get kicked in the sack by COVID-19. As did a lot of people.
Different situation, but floating furniture is probably also up there.
Mark Brunell.
Yeah.
Damn.
I bet you that pitch deck on that thing was
awesome.
Incredible.
They probably did the $100 million.
Top of the line.
Done. I'm in.
You know how many people love tubing? Now imagine tubing from your couch.
Terrible pitch.
I'm sold. Here's $1 million.
But it's only going to come, by the way, when something terrible happens. So at least get a little enjoyment. Ride the wave on the love seat. By the way, turns out that company did not work.
No, it
did not make it.
Zito, can we check in on your poll before we get out of here?
Yep. Which one seed is more likely to make the Super Bowl? Chiefs 47.8%, Packers 52.2%.
Here we go.
Oh yeah.
The stats say the NFC number 1 seed has a much higher chance to make it than the AFC number 1 seed, from 24-6 on the NFC side for the number 1 seed divisional weekend to 19-11 in the AFC side. AJ, of these two teams, what are your thoughts on this poll?
I'm trying to think who has the easier path, like the Packers or the Chiefs. And who do you think, if you want to look at it? So the Packers play the Rams now, and they play the winner of the Saints-Bucks, which I think the Bucks are going to win. Setting up a possible NFC Championship game in Lambeau with Tom Brady and Aaron.
Awesome.
The Chiefs, though, what do you think about them? What's their path like? How do you think they're just going to roll right into the Super Bowl?
Well, they got the Browns this week, and the Browns is the Browns, and the Browns is hot. Okay, they've won some games with and without their coach, and the Chiefs all year have won games, but they have not covered. Okay, it has not been like we're gonna run up the score. We're not gonna win by 20. We're not gonna showcase how our roster is completely more dominant than your roster, but we're not going to lose. Okay, we're going to win this game. We're going to handle our business. They were down, 21-0, 24-0 just a year ago today or something like that. So they can turn on the switch at any time. It's going to be hard for us to ever say that the Chiefs will lose a game because until proven otherwise, it's hard to believe. Now, granted, they lost to the Raiders or whatever, okay, and the Chargers gave them a battle, and everybody seemed to give them a battle. But whenever they need to make a play, they make a play. So Browns this weekend, then either the Bills or the Ravens. That's going to be a tough game as well. And the AFC quarterbacks are very young. I think the average age is 24.6 years of age or something like that. Baker Mayfield is the oldest quarterback in the AFC remaining, which is wild. And in the NFC, obviously, you got 2 40-year-olds and a 38-year-old. So for me, I think the Chiefs have a much harder road, specifically because of the team that they are this year. than the Packers do, because if everybody's going through Lambeau, I think it's a much bigger advantage for Aaron than it is for everybody going to Arrowhead, which normally a lot of run teams in the AFC this year. So that's my opinion on the thing. I think the Chiefs will win. I think by the way, Chiefs-Packers would be awesome.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. I think everybody agrees with that. So I like Aaron in Lambeau a lot.
Yeah, I mean, me too. But also, I was just thinking if the Ravens keep playing the way they have been and Lamar's running like that, they're going to be a very tough out, I think.
Hey, that was that Cincinnati run he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. All year I was asking a lot of questions about where is the Ravens team from last year. It looks like they don't enjoy each other. They don't like each other. We don't have soldiers, but we have soldiers and we never use them. And then Lamar went on Eisen's show and said like, hey, they're predicting what we're doing. The Harbaugh fighting the Titans thing. And then here they got hot when they had to get hot. And they are very hot. Lamar looks like Lamar Jackson from last year. I mean, but the Bills, same damn thing though. The Bills, now granted the Colts tried to lose that game with some of the decisions that were made in the outcomes, obviously. But I am very pumped for this weekend's matchups.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome 2 days of games. And when the Ravens were struggling, they didn't have Calais Campbell on defense. I know he missed a few games. He was out. He's a huge addition. They just needed something to rally behind, and that was their hatred for the Titans and what they did. So now their team is back together.
I've been told that the person to blame for Cole Beasley's loud setup, his name is Jared Barberino. Okay. He is from Plumboro, Pennsylvania. It was his fault.
Oh, really? He just made the list.
Phil Maine's brother-in-law, by the way.
CFO Phil. Sorry, Phil.
Oh, he was clanging and banging all those weights in the back. He couldn't stop working out for 10 minutes.
No, although he is a meathead, times 10, always has been. Always been a very handsome man, but worked out. His godfather, I believe, or his brother's godfather, is Jim Kelly. But the Barberino family, I've been told in a text message, the entire family is to blame for that interview with Cole Beasley.
Okay, well, good to know.
Well, we await the apology.
By the way, Barberino, another Plum native. You heard the name. The Italians run Plum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, let's go Guinos tonight, you know?
Speaking of. Hey, NHL's back, AJ. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Hell yeah! Pens are about to beat the Flyers by 5 to 6 goals. Sidney Crosby needs to score 1 for you to double your money on FanDuel Sportsbook with a super boost to plus 210. How do you feel about the Penguins probably winning the Stanley Cup here in 2021, AJ?
Feel good about it. They seem to be really set up for success this year. Roll right through that 50-some game season, right?
It wasn't Jared Barberino. It was Jason Barberino. The brother of Jared.
Okay.
Sure.
Sorry about that, Jared. But everything that I said about Jared, just echo that right to Jason.
Let him know.
He's the younger version. The Penguins, I guess, are not set up for success. The people that study the NHL, Nick said that they stink this year, basically.
I didn't say they stink.
Nick told me they stink this year.
I said it's going to be a lot harder than it has been in years past. Team's a little bit older now. The division is much better. They moved the Bruins over in their division. It's going to be tough.
And there's only 56 games there, so the old guys on the ice are going to be able to skate their way to a dub here. And we have to remember that the Philadelphia Flyers, it doesn't matter what team the Pens put out there, they're not the Flyers. Okay? So remember that. There has been an update on how many days it has been since the Flyers have won a cup. I think it's 16,677 days since the Philadelphia Flyers won a Stanley Cup. So go ahead and stay the fuck out of my mentions. I don't need to hear it. Okay, my team wins. That's what we do. All you do is see gifs of Sidney Crosby lifting up cups in different jerseys, pal. So I don't even want to hear it from Philadelphia tonight.
Are you going to watch the game?
Probably not. No, I don't even know if I have NBC Sports Network at the house.
You got a big boxing fight tonight anyway.
No, I will watch the game. Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch.
It's news to me now. I heard earlier that the season was starting tonight, I guess, but are they all on NBC Sports? Like you showed that whole lineup. Where is it?
Yeah, they're all triple header on NBC Sports Network to kick off the NHL. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Chicago, Tampa Bay, snooze fest. St. Louis, Colorado, they stink. The Tampa Bay, obviously, reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champs. But that was in a bubble where they relegated some teams down to junior Bs like the Detroit Red Wings. So, I mean, it's just, I'll be intrigued to see how this goes. I got some people in the comments section telling me that I shouldn't talk about hockey. Would love to talk to you about hockey. You know what I'd probably do? Skate circles around your fucking ass if we had a hockey conversation, pal. Because I grew up in hockey town, and the Pens were the only team I was ever an actual fan of. Now, granted, do I think they're winning the Stanley Cup every year? Yes. Are they going to win it this year? Absolutely. Will I talk about it while we're still in the running? Once they fall off, though, don't expect a lot of hockey talk on this particular show.
That's the way it goes.
Season's over.
That bubble might as well have ended up there last season as soon as the Pens got knocked out in the first round very quickly, by the way. That thing didn't even exist. See you later. NHL stinks. Who's talking about it? Nobody. But as the Penguins are on top, which they are, which is why they are leading off the entire season on NBC Sports Network, I'm going to talk about them. And the boys rocking the Penguinos on their uniforms, going to be hosting another Lord fucking Stanley.
Wow. May not talk on this show, but you can listen to That's Hockey Talk available where all podcasts are and clips on our YouTube.
Whoa. That is the hockey podcast that comes out of the show. And that is Hockey Talk. That's the show as well. 3:11 here, Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you manana. Hope the show's better than we can't thank you enough. Got up over 32,000 today on a Wednesday.
Good day.
Hey, Wednesdays stink.
good.
Wednesdays are bad days for us. YouTube and Google know, like, Wednesday, all right, these football dudes ain't got shit to talk about. Let's go ahead and put them down a little bit. Yeah. By the way, YouTube, what a powerful entity.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
How lucky are we to be on YouTube with people watching and owning our own network? Let me tell you, immensely. Immensely. It is so big. Everybody's trying to do it at this point. Everybody's trying to build it. The fact that we have it, I want to let you know, we will never take it for granted. Before I go to bed, I thank the lucky stars for you guys. And when I wake up in the morning, I take a shit. Then I thank you guys again. We are very grateful. We hope you come back and join us manana. Big show tomorrow. Hey, massive guest tomorrow.
Huge show tomorrow.
Diggs, big guest.
Big show today. Or tomorrow.
Tony.
I mean, just take it off, dude. Just fucking walk it off.
His brain's fucking mush.
This guy stinks, dude.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Good God, get a new hat.
All right, this is the Pat
Switch
McAfee
it.
Show. That's been the show. You are the best. Cheers.